Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. This is our Talk Hammer show, and tonight I'm joined by by Gary, as always, and by Parks of the Flex, aka Nigel Khan, who's been really busy today with his feet up in his shed, sorting his shed out. But Gary, how are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've had a really busy weekend so far. I've been, I didn't go to football, but I rented a van and I've been down the dump twice, and I've been to IKEA as well, and I've been decorating.
What, you rented a van to get rid of crap?
To get rid of 2 van loads of rubbish, like a transit van.
I'm moving bedrooms around.
We're moving bedrooms around. We've got shit to do, right? So tomorrow we've stripped Lily's bedroom out, and tomorrow we're going to be rebuilding it, and then we're doing Adam. Yeah, you know.
Panicking. Nice. Then you're going to say you've done a kitchen.
No chance. No chance.
There is a kitchen, Nige.
The snagging. You see, I did some chores today, so
yes.
I'll probably have a bit of snagging on the kitchen.
And then what you did was you said to the missus, "I've got to go and sort my shed out," and then you went down there, put your feet up, and yeah,
back soon.
Yeah, put the Tottenham game on.
Yeah. I know your game. But anyway, look, we're gonna rough agenda. What we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about the game briefly. Won't go into too much detail before we move on to the player ratings and start issuing many donkeys for that one, because it was an awful game. Then we're going to talk about the run-in very briefly. You know, the games that are left, how we're going to approach it, because there's only a few left now. There's only a handful. And then we're going to a little feature for Nigel as well that we're going to touch on before we open the phone line. So what we'll do, we'll start with Gary. Gary's in the middle. So Gary, what were your thoughts on the game yesterday? I've already done my rant on the game. What were your thoughts on the match yesterday?
I thought, you know what? I thought it was like going back a couple of games to the
Cheers,
horrors. So thanks, Alex. To the way we were playing before we suddenly became good halfway through the Arsenal game.
Yeah,
you know, we were pretty much sitting off them. We weren't shutting them down. We weren't pressing. It was very low energy. We weren't getting forward in numbers. Palace played well. Don't want to take anything away from them, but I think you could see pretty clearly that the players were fatigued.
They were.
And I think, I know we're going to have this conversation after. I think that he might have missed the boat on finding opportunities to rest and rotate. Right, he should have probably done it against Liverpool. Yeah, if not, he should have definitely done it yesterday for a couple of players.
Gary, but just to interrupt you, people's defence of that is they say that if David Moyes had have rotated players against Liverpool and would have lost, they'd have crucified him. Is that a good enough excuse? When it's a right thing to do and you're the manager, it's not the right thing to do, is it?
I don't agree with that, because all Moyes has got to do then is come out and say, look, these players cannot play. You know, that is what within 3 days. I've made something about the sort of number of days between games, right? And there's a worrying situation coming up. And we sort of build on that later. There's a worrying situation coming up in this remaining 7 games that we've got.
So you've expanded on mine and Nigel's WhatsApp spat earlier on, have you?
Pretty much, yeah. On the one hand, I think on the one hand I back you, and on the other hand I back Nigel. So So
I'm
in the middle, on the fence, firmly on the fence.
That's it. On the fence. You can't do that. You can't. We no sitting on the fence on this show. Not allowed.
Always sit on the fence.
I know. I think that kind of. I agree with you. It was a regression. I mean, don't get me wrong. The style of football that we played was probably designed because it was almost like, because we played deep, we played direct. Souček was the most advanced of the three, because we were launching balls to him for him to flick on, which worked from set pieces. He had 3 goal involvements, but that was a tactic. I don't think we weren't interested in sort of going toe to toe with them, because it's like Moyes knew that we weren't going to have the energy there, which begs the question: why not call on some of the squad players, Nigel? I mean, why take out Ben Rama, who hasn't been good lately, but put Fornals out there, who isn't a left winger? You're just putting him out there for the sake of it. We've got Cornet, who is not a bad player, but he looks shit at the moment because he's got no confidence. He's playing a few minutes here and there. He's got to get his energy levels up. He is a bit of a speed freak. He's someone that you could put on the left, or even if you play Cresswell at left back and play Emerson further forward as a left winger, that gives you another option. Why were we so slow and so leggy? I mean, Moyes knew the team that we was going up against. So what do you think happened there?
Well, I mean, why we were slow and leggy for me was because we were comparing it to the speed freaks that Palace entertain. The big thing for me that I take out of the game is we have a distinct lack of pace throughout the team.
Yeah.
Even Bowen, I don't think's pacey.
He's not super quick.
No. You know, when he runs down the line, he'd always have to beat with the ball the defender. He won't actually run past him. Antonio's the same. He uses his muscle to twist and turn and get free and hold the defender off. The defenders always get a chance to get back at him. They're players. You know, we know what we get with Zaha, don't he?
Yeah.
You know, look, shock horror. Zaha scores. When was his last goal? November. Who were they playing? West Ham.
Yeah. Every time.
You know,
he was up for it, wasn't he?
Well, he was. It was his first game back for a while as well, I think. Or first game starting.
He does. To be fair to him, he does have a good relationship with Roy. He does like Roy.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
look. The funny thing is, whoever thought that appointing a 75-year-old man after the progressive football supposedly of the era would turn out the way it has, but it has, and I think. We obviously couldn't cope. I don't know if that's why he put... The only thing is, obviously, Creswell, perhaps he was resting Creswell because of his age. Cornet can play left wing back, I believe.
Yeah.
He can, yeah. Yeah, so he could have... He
can play left back. He can play left back. He's played left back before.
Well, we know Emerson's not a left back, though, because we've seen it often enough and it showed again.
Even if you take the... don't take the fatigue line and you look at the fact we knew they had pace. We knew they had pace, right? Lots of pace all over the pitch. We knew we were going to struggle with that, and yet he's played a really pedestrian team. You know, putting Fornals out on the wing. There's one thing I did when I did my mini preview the other day. There's one thing I asked for was to not put Fornals out on the wing. Right.
Yeah,
and he did it. So we didn't cater for them. He just kind of played it his own way and hoped it was going to come good. But honestly, they were going to have to get through so much work, and they didn't have it in their legs. In order to win against Palace, the mood they were in, a thoroughly rested Palace. They're fast already, but they'd had a week, more rest than we've had.
Gary, don't forget, on Tuesday, we're talking about rotation, which we'll get into in a minute. On Tuesday, they played Wolves. They had a completely different middle three. He rested Decore, he rested Schlupp in those games. Eze was playing as like a left winger. But what he did was he had the West Ham game in mind, and you could see the energy levels because we were overrun. Not so much up front. Yeah, they were getting the ball and they were overrunning our defence, but they were just going through the middle of us. It's like we weren't there. They were. Souček was non-existent apart from 2 flick-ons and a goal that he scored. He did fuck all, nothing. But he lit the game completely bypassed him. But he was incredibly important for the tactic that we had deployed, which was our method of scoring goals, which was the Souček flick on. That's why he was on the pitch. You know? Yeah,
and to be fair to Souček, he did what he was put there to do.
He did,
right?
He did.
He did it really well. But the thing is, we are back to, in that game, I hope it don't last. I hope it was just a one-off. I don't know why it was a one-off against Palace, right? Because I don't see why we couldn't try to inject some pace in the side and an attacking way of playing, rather than no pace and sit and hope to get a goal from a set piece, which is exactly what happened. We got 3 goals from set pieces. But I just hate it when we set up like that. It's just so negative.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're talking about, Palace are fast. They're this, that, the other. Are Palace faster than Arsenal up front? No, they're not.
No.
Arsenal have got more pace than Palace throughout their entire team. Look how we attacked and pressed Arsenal.
Do you know, I think Palace have got more pace throughout their team.
They haven't. Not throughout their team. They haven't.
Throughout.
No way.
If you look at the deep runners, the middle three, I think I think
they just had energy. The middle runners had energy. So Schlupp isn't a speed demon.
he's no slouch.
No, but Eze's not a speed demon. He's a bit
Again,
sort of,
no slouch. I mean,
Decore's not a speed demon.
Yeah.
You know, they're not. Basically, they had more energy and more.
I think he
intent.
picks his fastest players. I think and this is the thing. You know, I think Roy's been watching a lot of football, probably while he ain't been managing.
Yeah.
And he picked the fastest players, and they were running through us in the first half. The second half, I think it was a bit different. The second half.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that. We created nothing from open play, Nigel. Not a thing.
No,
but we didn't. We didn't.
Not a single thing.
A lot. We didn't create a lot.
We forced a few corners. That's what we did.
It's still a good tactic to have, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're so lucky that Palace can't defend corners.
I know. That's what Nigel. All we did was forced a few corners. There was nothing from open play. Think of a passage of play from a move.
No, look,
a progressive move.
We were on. Yeah, but we don't play progressive football, Nick. And that's the thing. When you say think of the tactics that we've been employing recently is to work hard off the ball.
But we haven't been working hard off the ball.
Well,
we worked hard off
the last two away games. We'd won both of them without conceding a goal.
Yeah, so, I know, but I think the stock tactic, because a lot of people called. See, this is the thing. The way that David Moyes plays, it will work against some teams. It's perfect against Bournemouth. Play that way, we'll beat Bournemouth every week because Bournemouth can't break us down and we'll let them on the counter. But the majority of teams, and if you're talking about pace, and that's the way we play because they've got pace, what Premier League team really hasn't got pace?
West Ham.
Yeah. We haven't got pace.
I think we've lost it. Antonio's lost his pace. Bowen seems a bit seems to have slowed down a bit. I don't really read running stats or whatever he does. But I'll tell you what, there's a bit of me that thinks we used to have Yarmolenko coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he weren't a fantastic finisher, but I think he did have the pace. And I'll tell you what, he did pop up with goals when we needed them. Yarmolenko, yeah.
Did he have pace? He had pace 5 years before we got him.
He didn't have pace. He had like Di Canio pace.
He could beat people.
He could beat people. It's a little bit like Paqueta. You know, when we was watching, when Paqueta scored his great goal.
Yeah.
Ben actually said he made the point. He said he reminds me of Yarmolenko because he does everything in slow motion. But when he's on the ball, when he's going, he's not the fastest, but he glides up the pitch, doesn't he? But Paqueta was another one. He weren't involved in that game at all. Like
it wasn't. Too many. They were, and I think we should get into this conversation now rather than skirting around the edges.
Yeah.
I think So look, fatigue. And Ballon Dawson has got it here. He's saying rest the first team against City, right?
Yep.
Before we go down this route and actually discuss, Nigel clearly doesn't think that fatigue it should be
it doesn't exist,
right? It doesn't exist, but we let Nigel have his say. But before we go there, I just want to set this up by just laying the foundations by looking at the number of days between games, right? Because yesterday was a problem because we had 3 days, 5 hours from Bournemouth to kick off against Liverpool, right? So, over 3 days. We had 2 days, 16 hours from Liverpool to Palace, right? Under 3 days. We will have 4 days, 5 hours between Palace and City, right? And we will have 3 days, 21 hours between City and Man U, right? So next few games we're okay because we've got kind of 4 days between. And then we've got almost 4 days between Man U and Alkmaar, right? And then after that, we've got a problem. We've got under 3 days, 2.5 days between Alkmaar at home and Brentford away, a crucial game, right?
If we don't get anything out of the Manchester games.
Well, if we don't, I'm assuming we don't, right? So say we don't, we've got 2 days, under 3 days between Alkmaar at home, Brentford away, and our players could be in a similar condition to what they were yesterday, right? And that's not the end of it. Right, the next time that happens is we have the same amount of time between Alkmaar away and Leeds at home.
Yeah.
So Brentford and Leeds, those two crucial games, we've got like 2.5 days between, and the second one with Leeds, we've got to travel back from Holland. I know it ain't far, but it's still international travel, right?
And that one, that's the one that bothers me because I know everyone will look at that on paper. I do. You look at Leeds at home and you think that's a home banker. But if it is the point, if we're 2 points above the relegation zone by that point, or whatever it is, and that is a difference between sort of being in or out of the relegation zone going into the last game, you can't call that game then, because that is a fight to the death, isn't it? That's a dogfight then, and anything could happen then.
It is, and let me tell you why this is important, right? Having 4 days between fixtures allows for a full recovery if you're looking at all of the different elements that need to recover. So you've got there was this this is for you, Nigel. This University of Portsmouth study that took
Pompey Polytechnic.
A cross section of 2,600 top flight players from yearbook data going back to the 70s and 80s, right? And they come up and they basically said, in the 1970s, it was slower pace on boggy pitches with crunching tackles. So players in the 70s and 80s were typically more muscular, shorter, and a much higher body mass index in terms of the fat to muscle ratio.
Yeah.
But due to the supreme surfaces and the fast game and the hugely tough training regimes, players these days are more akin to thoroughbred racehorses. They're more endurance athletes rather than with more slender physiques, such as Rashford, Kane, and Vardy. They work harder in training, and during a match day, they've got high intensity matches. I mean, look back to the Liverpool game. How intense was that game, right?
Yeah.
They must have been exhausted when they come off, right? Even the relatively recent era of Shearer, Rooney, and Emil Heskey, that was a muscle-dominated game, right? So now it's different. Players are leaner and taller. They've got taller by approximately 1 centimetre per year since the 70s, and they've got ultra-low BMI, so they've got hardly any fat, hardly any body fat, and lean muscles, right? So and they look at 4 different measures about it's creatine, it's movement and jump, sprint tests, and also cortisol and testosterone, and all these different elements. They measured them after 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. To summarize, right, you need 4 days. You need 96 hours to recover properly, right?
Yeah.
You might get away if you've got 3 and a bit days or something, because that's what we had, before the Liverpool game. 3 and a bit days. Depends on your age. Someone like Antonio is not going to recover as quickly as Declan Rice, for instance.
No.
So Declan Rice might get away with 3 days. Antonio's going to need 4 days.
Yeah, and can I just say there is one other measure as well that isn't covered in that study, and that is the average knocks that players get in a game, which might not be an injury, but it's a knock. I mean, managed, like I said earlier on, I managed my son's under 14s team right now. That's nothing compared to what these guys do. After today's game, it was a physical game played on a horrible pitch. I've got one player who's currently got his ankle in ice because some player got the ball, went through and took his ankle. I've got 3 players with rake marks down the back of their feet. I've got bruised feet. You've got all of this shit going on as well. So there's that as well on top of the standard recovery as well. And that's not like bad injuries that will keep you out, but these are the little knocks and niggles that you don't factor in. You think if you're playing those games, and I think as well, it depends on the game that we play, Gary. We know that we don't play in a possession of a football. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're out of possession, you're working harder. You're working far harder. You're chasing the ball. You're chasing the ball all the time, or you should be anyway. And that is far harder mentally and physically than if you're in possession and you're in control of the game. We never are. We're always under pressure. So it's far more intense with us. I think it is, in my opinion.
It is. You look at the work that Antonio gets through every single game, chasing lost causes, right? Constantly chasing lost causes. And you got to bear in mind that, when it comes to muscles, when you exercise, you basically injure the fibers, right? And it takes time for those fibers to recover, right?
Yeah.
And he is, especially because he relies on his pace. If you remember back to the Arsenal game, Nigel, Antonio actually seemed to have his pace back in that game, right? He looked really fast.
He actually did.
And then a couple of days later, he looks like he's treading water.
Leggy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Focus on Declan Rice.
Let's throw it,
as well.
let's throw it out like this.
Go on, Nigel.
Yeah. So, the better you do as a team, the more games you're going to have to play.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I say it. We want to be in European competition. We want to be in cup competitions. So it could end up that we're going to play 55 games this season.
Yeah.
First team games.
Yeah.
So that I think that's a quick estimate, thinking we got knocked out in the League Cup straight away or after 2 games, but then like FA Cup we had 3 games, didn't we? So, and then Europe, we could possibly have 13 games, is it? What is it, 15 games in Europe?
Yep.
So throw in the 38. There you go. So West Ham as a club are not going to have players of equal ability that can come off the bench and replace the first 11. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line with West Ham in how we manage the players, and we're getting to the business end of the season, and you know. Players won't be training a lot. When you talk to players and you ask them, what do you want to do? And the funny thing is, though, I understand players need protecting from themselves.
Asking the players is one thing. Yeah.
Would you rather do play or train? And they go, well, they're football. Players become footballers because they love the game, don't they? And they love playing the game, and they happen to be better at it than us.
Yeah.
And that's why they're the pros and we're not. So, and all they want to do is play football. The training bit's the boring bit.
Yeah.
So when they play midweek, they'll have lighter training before and lighter training after. So for them, they're happier. The fixture diary. Now, the thing now, I've listened to what you said, and actually there's a bit of me that thinks, well, that's good to know, actually, because realistically, what we're now doing then is asking too much of our players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we as a club then need to build a squad.
Yeah, but Nigel, we do have a squad, mate. We've got players on the bench. I mean, if you look at Pablo, are you telling me that Flynn Downs couldn't do what Souček does, or in a game? Yes. What you don't think?
It will do something different, and I actually think I would rather Flynn Downs at times than Souček. But if you take the Palace game, where everybody woed Souček was picked, not just in our WhatsApp group, but in a few of my other WhatsApp groups, people were like going Souček. And frankly, he had one of his better games for us, and you can't deny that.
But what I'm trying to say is, talking about what you just said and focusing on that.
Yeah.
You've got 11 players. You're not going to have the same player in every position. You don't have to have, because we saw it last year. We saw it last year against Spurs. Now, I'm not being funny. You've got your starting 11, which is probably what we've got at the moment. Arguably, Souček is debatable. Maybe with Moyes' tactics, he is critical. He is a critical part of the team.
Yeah.
But maybe that is your best 11. But what I'm trying to say is, if they're not 100%, they are not better than the players that are on the bench. You're better to have a couple of players rotated in to freshen things up. If you can't have 11 leggy players because on paper they're the best players. You can't.
In two,
He took them off at half time.
Hold up, we could argue about how successful they were or whatever.
One of them out of position.
This is a separate issue. He did rotate the squad, didn't he? So as I said to you before, there's 15 players that have played 10 or more games Premier League. So that says to me, Moyes still got his nucleus of players that he likes. 15's on the small side. Yeah. But he will bring in 1 or 2 or 3, and then what he'll generally do is swap them back during the game, as we found out. Because at half time we actually had the same 11 that played Liverpool. Started the second half because he brought Creswell back. Now I get it with Creswell. I don't want to see Creswell playing every game, week in, week out, or 2 games a week. He can't do it. I'd argue he struggles sometimes playing 1 game a week, week in, week out. That he needs to have that rest. Possibly the same.
They've always
been his safe positions that he's rotated though on those left hand side. That's always been the ones. But
can I just say? Can I? Sorry, going back to this thing about rotation, right?
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm looking through the remaining fixtures. I don't see where he's going to get an opportunity left, apart from City, which is irrelevant because he's 4 days before Man United anyway, right? I don't see where he's going to get a chance to actually rotate. I mean, he's got City, he's got Man United. We've got to try and get something from that. Then he's got Alkmaar, same. Then we've got Brentford, same. Then we've got Alkmaar again, same. And then we've got Leeds again, right? And then finally, last game of the season, we've got Leicester, where we actually get a week's rest before that one. So where is the opportunity to rotate now? I think personally, it's gone.
It is gone because the fact of the matter.
I think in Europe, I don't know, and this is the thing because of the semi-final and burnt as he was by last year's defeat, and the way he Nick will sort of tell you, the way he handled the team in last year's semi-final. Hopefully, he's learnt that lesson. I get it by hook or by crook. I'm confident we're not going down, and that ain't because of West Ham. That's because of the people down there, and actually. We have got that points buffer. Yeah. The best result for us tomorrow, and this is mad, is a draw.
Oh, for Leicester and Everton.
For Leicester. If they draw, that's probably a good point for each of them. Yeah. But they'll still be 4 or 5 points behind us. Yeah. And we've got a better goal difference.
Yeah, but Nigel, can I throw you one thing? I was thinking about this earlier on. With your uber positivity, right? Put your cap and the way that you think about things and the way that you look at things, right?
Yeah.
Think right now at the moment, you're an Everton supporter. You're looking at the teams that you've got. You're looking at where you are. You're looking at 4 games. So each of them have got 4 games, possible 12 points.
They have. Yeah.
Would you, as an Everton, Leicester, Leeds, Nottingham Forest fan, any of them say it ain't over yet? Or would you be saying, no, we're down. It's definitely done and dusted. Or no, there's 12 points to play for. There's 12 points to play for there.
But what
I've been there and I've seen it before. The Great Escape season.
Hold up. Yeah. That I like what you did there.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, yes. And they can, but by the Great Escape season, Nick, we'd already started our run.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking. What would you be saying? What would you be saying if you was a fan of those clubs?
We were fighting 2 teams in the Great Escape season. Yeah, we've got a buffer of 3 or 4 teams.
It's 5 points. It's 5 points.
But what I'm saying is, it's 5 points. But what we're dealing with, we've got Leicester, Everton, Southampton are gone. Yeah. So if I'm looking at it, you've got Everton, Leicester, Leeds and Forest.
Yeah.
Now,
if each of those get 2 wins from their last 4.
Ifs, buts and maybes. Right, hold on. And I know it's the same with West Ham, but have a look at who they're playing, yeah? Good luck with that.
Yeah.
The funny thing is the Leicester and Leeds have both got to play us.
Yeah. But that ain't a good thing, Nigel.
No. And the mad thing is, the worst thing we could have had, in a way, was the European semi-final thrown into the mix.
Yeah.
The big thing for me is, can we get, I want 2 or 3 points out of Man United, Brentford.
Nigel, can I just quickly run through Everton's games?
Yeah, I know Everton.
No. I'll run through that just quickly. Tell me what you think they could get, possibly, when you consider...
I'll tell you now, Nick, I've looked 4 points, but go on. Or 5
Okay,
points.
No. Okay, but look, they could beat Leicester, couldn't they? This is could.
Yeah.
Could they beat Brighton?
Possibly not.
No.
Could they beat Wolves?
No.
Debatable.
Could they beat Bournemouth?
Yeah.
These are not unwinnable games.
Is it away? Is Bournemouth away?
No, Everton's at home.
Right. Okay.
That's on the last game of the season.
That's the win our game.
But Wolves are going to be safe. They're going to be playing them. Wolves got battered 6-0 by Brighton. So I'm seeing 2 wins there.
Good,
yeah, but there's 6 points there, and they've got to play Leicester. So that's
Nick,
them.
What you're doing is you're looking at Everton and you're thinking of Everton, of the club they are, and you're not thinking of how shite they are. I mean, if you think we're bad, Nick, fuck me. Everton.
No, I know we're bad. We're bad. Yeah, I know. I know.
They are uber bad.
Yeah, they're a terrible team.
I know. They are. I know. But 1 second, I'm going to quickly run through them. Leicester have got to play us. Yep. That's a potential 3 points for them. Okay, you got to say that. It's a potential 3 points.
Yeah.
So let's say that. Yeah, they've got to play Newcastle away. They're not going to win that. Yeah. They've got to play. Liverpool at home. That's possible. Yep. Liverpool, we almost got something out of that. They've got to play Fulham away. Fulham ain't going to have anything to play for at this point.
Yep.
And they've got to play Everton. They're not unwinnable games. And you've got the same the team who I feel sorry for. I think Forest are going to get out of it. I do think they'll get out of it.
I don't see how you work that out. Their remaining games are tough.
They've got Southampton next, Gary. There's 3 points.
Well, yeah. No, but that aside.
Then they've got Palace, who are going to be safe. Palace is safe.
But Palace ain't going to give up yet.
They've got Chelsea.
Chelsea beat Leeds 5-1 last week.
They've got Chelsea.
Yeah. It's Forest.
they beat Brighton. They beat Brighton.
Nick, coming in then. Right,
we got beat 4-0 by Brighton.
Right, we got Man United. Yeah.
Yeah.
What they got to play for? They're top 4.
Man United. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We got to play Brentford. Mid-table mediocrity. What are they going to be playing for?
No. The ones who I think are fucked.
I can take what you say.
I do think Leeds are fucked. If I look at Leeds, they've got to play City away. Yeah. They've got to play Newcastle
Leeds and
at home.
go down for me.
Yeah.
I think Leeds. I do think Leeds are gone. Personally,
I think they are. I think they are.
Unless
their
some
fixtures
miracle
are ridiculous, and they can't. But they're so leaky. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Southampton are useless. Leeds are useless. Everton can't buy a win.
And Everton all go down.
Yeah.
So ultimately, after all of the evidence that's been presented to you by Gary this evening, Nigel, do you now accept that fatigue does exist and it may have played a part in our performance against Crystal Palace?
Look, yes, fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You know, the thing is, people say, "Oh, we look tired" or whatever. Possibly, but I tell you what, we were playing and we were the team attacking at the end of the game, and if Ben Rama could cross a ball, Ben,
don't get me started on him.
I know,
I'm letting someone else mark him today. I'll keep on getting shit over him.
It's you can pick holes and say, well, we only scored from corners.
And the other thing as well, you've said it yourself in messages. So because for me, just going back to squad rotation, and like you saw in the example that I gave, Roy rested his midfield against Wolves on Tuesday.
Yes,
before he played us. For me, and it's always been how I understand football. It's how I see football played out. If you lose the midfield, quite often you lose the game. The midfield is the most important part. You need to be able to freshen up and have legs in the middle. If those players aren't playing, if you haven't got any sort of mobility in there, if it ain't working, you need fresh legs and energy in the middle of the park. You can't just keep on playing the same play. It's the hardest position. They're up, they're down. They're up, they're down.
Yeah, undoubtedly, mate. Undoubtedly.
That's what I mean. And so we can't just rely on those 3 players. We can't. It can't just be Souček, Paqueta and Rice when we've got Downs, Lanzini and Fornals. It doesn't make sense because even if you just take one out and put another one in, it freshens it up. If they're fresh, you can rotate Paqueta with Fornals in the 10. You can. You can rotate Downs with Souček. You know, you can do it. Lanzini, you can change the style of play. You can go from fucking hoofball to maybe trying to hold on to the ball for a bit. Play some technical players in the middle. So you're holding on to the ball a little bit more. You can do that. You know, there's different things that you can say that you can do. And that's what I don't understand about all of this. I really don't.
No. Let me go through a couple of the comments because I've starred a few because I wanted to read them out, right? Let me just make sure I've got right. I'll go to the first one. So this is an important message, right? I think Zuma's having a CAT scan. That's good, isn't it? I like that. A CAT scan. But apparently X says that he's out for
he's gone for the season, so I've heard.
Yeah. So that is shit news.
It was bad though, wasn't it? You saw the way his ankle went.
Yeah. And then I think what Doddsy wanted to do actually was a quick mention, Nigel, if you can go through it with the horse-based injury yesterday. Yeah, and I mean, I saw the video and it looked like a clear dive to me. Gone.
Well,
it did look like a dive to me. It looked like a dive.
I played it backwards and forwards. I slowed it down. I rocked it a bit. And for me, there was a contact. There was a contact at the start. There was contact at the start, obviously. But I didn't see where the ankle clip came.
It wasn't the most elegant of falls from that poor man, was it?
It wasn't.
Yes, it wasn't.
In the way he stumbled and then he rolled on his back like a beat seal. Floundering his arms about. And
I'd have been screaming if I'd have landed on my back with 2 horses around me, I'd have been fucking screaming.
Been like,
I know your pride would have hurt so much. It would have been so painful. Yeah. I think
the horse is okay.
He's okay. And Doddsy also said, how can tennis players play 5 sets over 2 weeks, 20 times a year, and the top ones play 6 times in 2 weeks? Different sport, different physical demands, Doddsy.
Yeah.
Sure, actually, but they don't play 5 sets over 2 weeks because when they play Wimbledon, they can play 4 or 5 hours of tennis every other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, Gary, finish that point, actually. Gary, Nigel, you gave him a 7 out of 10 for his dive?
I gave him a 7 out of 10.
A 7.
Yeah.
I'm going lower than that. That's high. That's high.
I'm
sorry, I don't know the guy, but I'm going to donk him up. He's getting a 4 for me. He's getting
Honestly,
a 4. I'm donking him up.
The horse, I don't think the horse even fucking touched him. He just went straight down. He was flat. Like, oh!
I'm pretty sure, I don't want to slaughter the bloke, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, from Dodsey will correct me, from the photographs I saw of them in the last European game, the man spent a lot of time on his back. Anyway, but I think that was more due to the alcohol he consumed, rather than. Poor old Dodsey's mate. He's getting slaughtered, and he probably can't even realise it.
Well, go on, Gary. Finish off the comments, and then we're going to player ratings.
No, that's it. That's all the ones I've starred so far. I've been putting the others up as we've gone along.
Okay, all right, cool. Should we get started?
Yes.
Okay. There it is. Okay, as we all know, player rating scores. The way that we do it is a little bit different to everyone else. 0 to 4 is a donkey. We're not being horrible. I've jumped the gun on David Moyes. 5 is below average. 6 is average. 7 is above average. 8 is very good.
Jumped the gun on David Moyes.
9.
No discussion. No discussion. Straight on with the donkey.
Come on. Nick, hold up, right? Here's the thing people ain't thought, yeah? The last 2 games you've been to, yeah? Brighton away and Palace.
That was shit.
Yeah? Well, yeah, but Palace was better.
I'm going Brentford. I'm going Brentford as well.
No,
I'm going Brentford as well.
Yeah, but Nick, the common denominator is we've conceded 4 goals in both of those games you were there. I mean, how much are you to blame?
It's me. So you're saying I shouldn't go to Brentford?
You're a massive Jonah.
You're saying I shouldn't go to Brentford?
If we concede 4 at Brentford, mate, I'll be hunting you down in that ground.
Well,
that's got
to be honest, Nick, you're going with me, who wins every away game. I'll win every away game. You lose every away game.
You are, aren't you? I mean, you went to Bournemouth, didn't you?
Yeah,
you went to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I know.
And Fulham and several others. Well, there's only been, I think there was, how many away wins has there actually been? 3. Yeah, I've been to 2 of them. Yeah.
Aston Villa in August, and then Fulham and so perhaps getting 3rd on the trot was a bit too much to ask. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. I'll start with Nigel on his mate. You know, part of the goalkeepers union on Flapiansky. I particularly enjoyed his two kicks that went straight out to touch. Did you notice them? They was good, weren't they?
Well, you pointed them out. So
yeah, he was amazing.
So
he was amazing.
I did. I don't think.
But distribution ain't important for a keeper, is it, Nigel?
No, it ain't,
they're only there to save, aren't they? That's all they're there
that's
for.
what I was here for.
No.
And I didn't do that well.
He was poor, Nigel. Fabs.
Yeah, I'm going to give him. I will give him a 5.
Oh, so
that's
near.
Bad.
No, but he had
he's
donk him up.
Some of it.
Donk
no,
he
ain't having no donkey. No way he's having a donkey. Yeah.
Oh.
To be fair, there was a bit of me that fought against Liverpool.
Can't kick donkey.
Post goal, double bounce, could have got down. Same thing happened again with Ayew, caught out on his near post.
Yeah.
You know, but Ayew took the shot early. I think that. But when you look, when the ball goes past, it's because he's late getting down.
Everyone's going fours.
Would have got to the ball if
everyone's going fours.
I don't care what everyone's saying. Yeah,
God, peer pressure, Nigel. Peer pressure.
Yeah, he's having a 5. And
he's having a 5.
That's bad for him. Yeah, because
he was a bad 5. Is it a bad 5? A low 5, Nigel.
But the thing is, look, he's really good at reaction saves if the ball's within about 2 foot, 3 foot of him. But if he's got to reach for it, he turns into Roy Hodgson, doesn't he? You know, he's got that sort of agility. You know, he can't help his age.
Well, Roy Hodgson at 75. Is that what you said? He turns into? Did you see Roy try and trap the ball?
Yeah. Better than Souček.
Better
right.
than Moyes.
Yeah. Right. So Gary, onto that number's about right for Emerson. He was good, wasn't he?
He was really, really poor, actually. Really poor. And there's no need for him to be poor because he hadn't played the previous game. He should have been fresh. Fatigue is not an excuse for him. and he made too many mistakes in that first half, and actually deserved to get taken off. And so for that, I can't give him any more than 4, Nick. He's got to have a donkey.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
Cheers, Daniel.
Thanks, Dan.
Good to see Nigel on the show. He drives me mad with his pragmatism, but brings a different perspective. Yeah, he does.
He does. Always does.
He does. He's just different for the sake of it. He is.
Story of my life.
He's a Sam Smith of YouTube.
Yeah,
He's
fuck
just
it.
different for the sake
You
of
know,
it.
Nick, behind closed doors, I'm like, fucking sack Moyes. He's fucking useless. And that Fabianski couldn't save the top, and they should put me in goal.
Yeah.
That's
So,
me,
Gary, what score? 4?
4. Yeah, he deserves it. He played half a game, and he was shit for half a game.
Absolutely shit. On to the walking catastrophe that he's turning into, which is Naif Aguirre. You know, he went from being world class against Liverpool that I thought
He was
at times
brilliant against Salah. Brilliant.
absolutely brilliant. I mean, but Gary, I think he might be a one-trick donkey. I think, I think his recovery pace is amazing.
One-trick donkey.
I think he might be a one-trick. It's a good trick. He's got amazing pace. He's got good recovery. I literally gave him loads of credit in that game, but my fucking God, was he bad in this? And I am sorry.
Hold up. What's an header from a yard out?
It was okay. I'll take him from a 3 to a 4.
Yeah, it was a bullet, wasn't it, Nigel?
It was a 4. Yeah. No, I won't. He's getting a 3. He was one of the worst. I mean, Emerson was bad, but Aguirre was shit. Really shit. He was terrible.
Hold on, where's the Aguirre scores? I'm rubbish at comments. Where are we?
What, have you lost it?
Someone said it
Nigel.
reminds me of Gary Green.
You got a new fan, Emma 89.
Fucking hell, there you go. Fuck me, what have I done wrong?
Right, so yeah, that's me for Aguirre. I just thought he was thoroughly depressing as a defender. I don't think he was helped. I don't think any of the defence was helped by the fact we had a non-existent central midfield and they were just going through us at will. I think that was completely exposed, but nonetheless, with what he had to deal with, he didn't deal with it. You know, he was shocking.
They didn't get close enough, did they? The central midfield, they didn't get close enough.
No.
There was a gap there, wasn't there?
There was a massive gap, a Suchek-sized gap. Right, Nigel, onto Zuma.
Well, I mean, do you know what? It's a bit harsh to donkey him up because he got injured.
I don't think he deserves a donkey. He weren't that bad. I mean, he did make a mistake, to be fair.
So let's go. I'm not giving him more than Fab though, so he can have a 5.
Oh, where's me donkeys? I ain't been doing me donkeys. Sorry, mate. 1 minute.
You have to copy and paste. So he can have a 5.
How many? Shall I get ahead? How many donkeys do you reckon I'm going to need?
You need a few.
7. I'm going. I reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah. All the players I don't vote for.
Are you not going to donkey anyone up? I'm going to give you.
It depends who you give me because there's a possibility.
Yeah, I know. Right, so you're giving Zuma. Sorry, mate. What was that? A 5. I think that's fair, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the consensus in the chat.
Yeah, I think that's.
It's
fair.
good to see Nigel go with a consensus, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Now, Gary, completely ignoring his upturning form, measuring this on a game on the game basis on its merits, Sufel, that was one of the worst right back performances I've ever seen. It was
absolutely torn to shreds.
He needed a rake whistle. Every time Zaha ran at him, he needed a rake whistle. He did.
Pepper spray.
Honestly, he was bad. He was bad. Yeah. He's been fantastic lately, Sufal, but you do have to call it as it is. There's a lot of 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s in here, so
there's a 5 there. Look.
Yeah, I know, but he's got to be donked. Give him a 3.
He's getting a 3 with shit. He's really shit. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Bad, to be honest.
Oh, he's awful. Bloody hell! I got frightened for him every time Zaha got.
Zaha's gonna do that, isn't he? He'll do that to the best of them.
Well, he does it to no one other than us.
That's no excuse, Nigel. He's a Premier League player. Right. On to who's going next? Is it Nigel, isn't it? Right, Nigel on Rice. This is probably his worst game I've ever seen him have for us.
Yeah, it's his worst game, so he can have a 5 as well.
A fucking 5.
Oh, Nigel's not donkeying anyone up.
You got to, but the thing is, don't you feel guilty for the other players that have got donkeys? Don't you want to balance it out a little bit?
Donkeys. No.
Perhaps he feels left out, perhaps Nigel, perhaps Rice would welcome a donkey because his standards are so high. He might look at this and think, I deserved a fucking donkey in that game.
No, he didn't have his best game, but his standards are so high, he's normally an 8 or a 9.
Exactly. So he might look at that game and say, that was unacceptable. Put that donkey on.
I was just going to go, if he's a 9 and he was a 50%, that's 4.5. So he's 4.5 a donkey.
Can I say, if you was a manager, of that team, and that's your responsibility, what would you have said to these players after that game? Would you be going, "Oh, look, it's fine, you're okay, we'll be all right," or would you be ripping into them, but knowing that you're going to get pulled to pieces after the game? What would you be saying to them?
I'd have been saying, "Look, boys, we've not been at our best today, and I'm disappointed in some of the performances, but I was pleased with the recovery, and we go on to the next game."
I'd have gone fucking mad. I'd have been flipping tables and everything. I would.
Tee straight at the wall.
Yeah. I'd have been, I ain't fucking going out there and talking to them fucking cameras because you... I'd be going like that. You fucking go out there, you useless... That's how I'd be going. But anyway, so you're giving him a 5. Okay, that's fine. I don't agree. I would have donked him up for that. And you can see how much I love Declan Rice. I got diddled in that charity.
Well, I know how much you love him.
Yeah, I know.
It's
amazing.
Imagine the players watching this. Oh, please God, yeah. Imagine that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Johnny Sitton. What was that line he used? What was it? He said, "You two, I'll take both of you and bring you dinner."
Yeah, bring your dinner. Yeah. It's brilliant.
You couldn't pair up.
That's it.
All right.
He sacks his striker, isn't he? And what people don't realise is, I think the striker was Mark Howard. Yeah, I used to go over the Orient. And what people don't realise is, Sitz used to be a teammate of his.
Oh, really?
So he actually Sitz.
He's someone I'd love to get him on the show. I know he's not West Ham, is he?
He'd taken over, because I used to go over Orient in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And Sitz was a great player, part of the promotion team in 1989 when Orient fans sang West Ham down, Orient up. It was quite surreal. But yeah, and he absolutely, and he was a fantastic player.
Yeah.
But he was a teammate. I mean, he's standing in front of blokes he's played with.
I never saw him play. Nigel. Sorry to interrupt. Was he the type of player that his character depicts in that?
Yes.
He was. He was an animal. He was an animal. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. I'll take Souček.
Hello. This is Thomas Souček. Please don't give me the donkey.
You can't, mate. Listen, you can't, right?
No, a goal and 2 assists. A goal and 2 assists. You can't.
Listen, I'm going to start him at 1, right?
No,
because that was his involvement. I'm going to give him mark. I'm going to mark him up 1 for the. I'm going to mark him up 1 for the goal, 2 for the second head on, and 3 for the fucking next one. He's getting 4. I'm giving him a 4. I don't care if
I don't care.
That's 6. Give him a donkey for a goal and 2 assists. That is not right. Come on, you can't just mark people down because you don't like them. Come on.
No, if people don't agree with me, they can give him man of the match afterwards. But he was fucking shit. He was rubbish. Honestly.
He was. No, honestly, I don't know how he can get a 4.
Sorry, Tom.
How can he get a 4 and Deck get a 5?
Oh no!
Well, I didn't mark. I would have donked Rice up as well.
Yeah, I would have.
I'm fuming with that game. I'm fuming with it.
How about a trade, Nick? How about a trade?
What?
Yeah. I'll swap you Souček's 4 for Rice's 5.
No, what you should do is you should also give Rice the score that he deserves.
No, wouldn't you give Souček the score he deserves? You cannot. You can't do that. Swap it. Give Rice the
hang on. He did also set up the Palace goal. So that
he did.
A point away for that.
Yeah, he's keeping his donkey. Nigel's admitted that Rice is getting a 4 as well, so he's getting a donkey as well. So moving on to Gary for a really badly shaven Brazilian. What do you reckon? How do you think he did on this one?
Oh my God! I mean, he had some really poor performances when he first came to us, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yesterday, it was like he wasn't even on the pitch. Right? He didn't participate in the game in any way, shape, or form. He did nothing. He did bugger all. He just never got involved. Right?
Yeah.
3.
He was bad. Yeah, absolutely.
Terrible.
Nigel, did you call 7 donkeys? Because this is getting a bit out of hand. Hang on. I wish I had a donkey's arse for Moyes, I'll tell you. Hang on.
Fucking hell.
This is not democracy.
Right. Pablo, I can't play left fucking wing. Why'd you keep putting me there 4-0? Nigel.
Do you know what? I'm not. This may be bad. Until I didn't realise he was playing for 25 minutes.
No.
I think. Fucking hell. Let's play the game. Leave that there.
Leave the 3. He was bad. He was bad.
Honestly,
I love Pabs.
I'd forgot that he was playing, and it ain't. And in a way, I get it. It ain't
terrible.
He ain't a left winger.
No, he was terrible, but he was completely outpaced. He tried to do a bit of defensive duties, but he didn't have the legs to keep up with them. It was just he ended up doing the square root of fuck all, just like Paqueta.
Yeah, and again, look, people, to add some clarity to this, right? I did say on my post-match reaction, I don't blame the players for how bad they were. I do think they were fatigued. But as a result of the fact that they've been, you can only judge them on the match that they played. This is how they played. I'm sorry, and if
so, I mean, there is an argument to say they were fatigued and it's not their fault, but we are just judging them on the performance they put in, right?
Absolutely. Right, Gary Bowen.
Bowen, well,
just shit.
Again, he was just awful, and I mean, and he left, as someone said rightly in the comments earlier. He is one of the reasons why Soufal got such a hard time, because he didn't even do his defensive duties.
Rubbish.
Well, right? He did nothing well. He was. You said this earlier, didn't you, Nigel? The right back or the left back? Sorry,
young boy.
He had the beating of him for pace, and Bowen just never troubled him. He had Bowen in his pocket. But again, I don't think he would have usually had Bowen in his pocket. But I think Bowen was knackered. But nonetheless, Bowen was awful. And I'll give him a 4.
Yeah, no, he was.
Bowen was dire.
Yeah, he was Danny Dyer. Yeah, he was. Right, I'll take Mickey. He ain't getting a donkey.
No, he worked hard.
He worked. He's worked his socks off. He looked like he was 3 yards slower than what he was against Arsenal, but I'll take that. You take that for what it is. He was knackered. Did not stop work. He was. That was a thankless task today. Against Palace, we was back to him being isolated, us pumping balls up, and him just fucking. He had no chance. He did work hard. I'm giving him a 6 just for endeavour, really, and the goal as well.
I agree with that.
So he gets a 6. He didn't stop. He didn't stop. And do you know something? That is a type of role in a football team that would depress the fuck out of me. And most players, I think you've seen it with Skamaka. You've got to be some.
You give him a 6, right? Now you give Souček a 4.
Yeah,
right. But Souček, right, 2 assists.
2 fucking flicks.
Oh,
2 assists.
That's not an assist, Nigel. That ain't an assist, is it? It's not an assist.
Well, mate, don't talk to Opta, because I think they put it down as an assist. I don't even count assists,
mate. We could have put a tree in there that would have got the same 2 assists.
Well, Souček got a goal, and he helped set up 2 of them.
Yeah,
I personally would have given him a 5, Souček, because it would have been a 6. It would have been a 6, funny enough. But then someone reminded me that he gave the ball away, so it would have been a 5 for me.
Yeah. Dan Hunter said Souček was also to blame for the Palace 3rd goal as well.
Yeah.
I know. So that's what I mean. So it all counts. He was rubbish. He was terrible.
Referee,
right,
not the ref down.
Like I said, I'm not doing this, bloke. So I'll give this to Nigel. Fucking go on.
What are you doing to me?
Go on,
Ben Rama. I once called him Panland Aaron Lennon.
Yeah.
And that may be harsh on Aaron Lennon at the moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God.
Well, if Pablo gets a free, he replaced him and did even worse. So
He did.
I mean, just two
Cool.
examples. Just two examples. When we're pushing forward, and he let the ball roll under his foot.
Yeah,
Fucking hell! I nearly jumped off the settee.
Yeah,
and then later on, the very last move in the game, he's fucking ballooned it out of play.
Yeah.
The guy that he does not know when to capitalize. Where he does everything right until the final ball, which he always fucks up. That's the difference between him and a good player.
Yeah, I like Ben Rama because he's always forward looking, but he can get lost in a game.
Look, at the start of the season, let's not forget, at the start of the season, he was probably our best forward. He was.
Yeah.
But the issue that you've got, I mean, I got chastised for scoring him low in the Liverpool game. But the reason I did that, yes, there were moments where he showed dazzling feet, got through 2 or 3 players. What's the cross like? Yeah. Shit.
No, but that's why
he never picks anyone out.
You know, this is why I said, like, the thing I always remember Aaron Lennon, he had pace to burn. He beat 4 players.
Yeah.
There was just no final delivery. Andros Townsend went through a period of being, of being one of them players. Benny, for all the skills and the tricks he's got, I think it was the Crystal Palace game where he did that fantastic flick or whatever. Yeah. And I remember looking, and then he wasted the ball. And I said to my mate sitting next to me, I said, I bet they clipped that flick and ignored the bit that followed it. And lo and behold, West Ham social media, like, clip the Benny, like, magic from Benny. And you think, well, but what did we get from it?
Yeah.
You've got to have a bit of something. So I'm going to give him 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Steve Tiley says, I don't believe the abuse Ben Rama gets yet Bowen when Bad doesn't, and that useless tricks. I don't know, not on here. We've said Bowen was crap. He's got a donkey.
I've been giving Bowen pelters for a long time. It's only taken me just recently to lay off of him, to be honest.
Samwise Tingle says, good hair, as in Ben Rama. Do you reckon the bleach has seeped into his scalp? Because I'm sure he was better with dark hair.
Yeah, I think so. He's gone all Eminem on us, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm going. As per West Ham clips that Nigel loves. Aaron Cresswell, Gary.
Aaron Cresswell. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, he done better than Emerson, I think. I don't.
He went worse. He was more involved.
Yeah, I think he did better, and there was no glaring errors for Cresswell from what I remember anyway. Right? I think he's actually.
I do think he was an improvement on Emerson.
Yeah, I do, and I think his positional play.
The new transfer fees will be in carrots.
Yeah, his positional play of late, Cresswell, has been really, really good. He's compensated for the lack of pace by having excellent positional sense, and I think that's what I saw yesterday. He didn't get caught out, did he? He didn't get caught out. No one ran past him, did they?
Not that I can remember.
No. So he got forward a lot, and he took set pieces.
Well, we drew the second half, didn't we? 1-1.
Yeah.
So...
Give him a 5. Give him a 5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fuck me, Danny Ings.
Oh God. Because we went 2 up front for a while, didn't we?
Yeah. What he did was
that went well.
He went 2 up front, and he took off the creative player from central midfield and left Suchik on there next to Rice. When you're in a situation where you want to kind of create chances for the 2 forward players that you've got on, he can't get over the fact. Oh, what if we get another corner? But no, Danny Ings, he just. I don't remember him doing anything. I don't. He runs about a lot.
0.
He's busy. He
did 0. He did nothing.
A 5. He don't deserve a donkey, I don't think, because he weren't. How long was he on for?
So I don't know, about 10, 15 minutes on it.
Yeah, give him a 5.
So the strange thing, I watched him in the Palace game, and he was sort of stuck in this no man's land because he didn't sit on the shoulder of the striker, so he took up the space in between. But we never picked him out.
No.
Yeah.
He's not a counter-attack. He's not a counter-attacking striker, Nigel.
No, we never got the ball to him, to his feet, and it's just it does remind me of the Robbie Keane signing.
Yeah.
And
I saw it on another channel, right? You know, we all remember the quote from David Moyes. I can't remember after which game, just before he then went ahead and played him up front on his own.
Yeah,
he admitted that you know he wasn't the right type of player that could play that way, and we're yet to try and find out the best way to get him. Apparently, when he was at Sociedad, he almost signed him before Liverpool. It was on the BT Sport commentary, and apparently Danny Ings went down to Sociedad, and he had a tour of the stadium. This is when David Moyes was there. So David Moyes knows exactly the type of player that Danny Ings is.
Didn't know that.
He's tried to sign him before. Now, on what planet does looking at the way that David Moyes typically sets up, does Danny Ings fit into that team anywhere, Nigel?
He don't, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Someone's pointed out, don't forget Ogbonna. He came on for Zuma.
Oh, he did, yeah. And
he made a fuck up.
And they scored immediately, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm not going to donk him up. I'll leave him off the graphic. That's fine. What should we give? What should we give the invisible? Go on, Nigel. Give him a score. He can go down here.
Oggy, he can have a 5.
A 5.
Yeah, he was all right when he settled down. By the way, about Ben Rama, Mancunian Hammer, there's a lot of chat going on in here. He gets you up off your seat and then boots it out of play, right? Perfect way of saying it, right? And then Garino says he's better suited to Europe. Why do they like people who get you up off your seat and then boot it out of play? Then I don't know. And then
I think he's better suited to he's better suited to Europe because it's a slower. Listen, he's a good player, but I think what it is, he's a player that likes to be on the ball. He likes to have the ball too much. And in the Premier League, unless you're amazing, you can't be like that because he gets rushed. When he's under pressure, he makes bad decisions. So in Europe, he is better. He's better in Europe.
He is. He is definitely. Yeah, that's a good point, I suppose. He's from the Masuaku School of Crossing. I think he is. Messi 1 minute and Marco Buga's the next. He should be playing centrally. I tell you, he's such a divisive character, Ben Rama, because some people absolutely adore him, and quite a few, and won't hear a word against him, and other people just see him as a bit of a.
People say play him centrally. Would you play him centrally over Paqueta or Fornells?
No, you can play him centrally. How you could play him centrally. This is how you would have to do it, but you would have to play 2 banks of 4, and
Benny's better suited to a different sport.
One striker. And have Benny and give him the freedom of the pitch.
Yeah.
So he could play off of the central striker, but I don't. You know, the funny thing is, I remember the first time I watched him was he played for Brentford in the playoff final against Fulham. Dog shit.
Yeah, I've got to say as well, in that Palace game, we did what we did on the last one. Do you know when we beat them on New Year's Day? Last year, the one that we went to, and we started taking the piss out of them singing their song. Well, we kind of went a little bit too soon after the Souček game this time, the Souček goal, and we started really giving it to the Palace fans. And my God, did they fucking batter us towards the end? Honestly,
I mean,
they was taking the piss out of us towards the end. They really
I saw a video yesterday. Apparently, one of the Palace fans, a youngster who was giving it, a bit too large.
He got ironed out. Yeah.
He got chased into a front garden where he was being protected by the police.
Did he have a black shirt on?
Yeah,
that was it. He was pissing me off as well because he weren't too far. I was right by the away support, and it was all game, Gary, all game long. He was mocking us, little slag.
It happens at every away ground.
I know. Right, but anyway, I'm not going to give him to Nigel because Nigel's just not sensible on this subject. So, Gary, you can take David Moyes. The donkey's staying where it fucking is. It ain't coming off. Don't care what score you give him.
I'm going to pick you up at the end.
Go on,
anyway,
go on.
Well, listen, right. If you can give me all your Moyes ratings in the chat, because I'm gonna listen to you. Right, I'm not going to decide myself. I think he was. I think he had an opportunity to do something a little bit different, set up different. And try to attack Palace. Instead, he chose the fullback option, and the fullback option is the one that we've been slagging him off for all season. And so, for me, this was Moyes back to his worst, and this was Moyes back to doing what he did last season, where he exhausted the players and played them too much. Right? I think the consensus in the chat is 0 or 1. I'm going to give him a 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He got totally schooled by Roy, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually did.
Yeah.
I tell you, all right, and this is the thing, yeah. So yeah, I look at these. I'd love to see what happened against Brighton. Yeah, Brighton we lose 4-0. Yeah, this may seem bonkers. I think we were still more attacking. Yeah, against Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that we lose 4-3.
How were we
know,
more?
boys,
How were we
weren't
more
attacking. We weren't attacking. We scored from 3 really badly defended set pieces.
Well,
really,
yeah, but we didn't even do that against Brighton.
I mean, the first
what
one.
I'm saying is,
the first one, Eze has literally
Cuckoo,
passed it to
cuckoo,
Souček, and he's passed it to
cuckoo.
Souček.
If you look
No,
compare
Elise-
this game
Elise,
to
wasn't it?
Brighton, if
Yeah.
you compare this game to Brighton, the last away game we conceded 4 goals in. Look at this, we've lost 4-3. It was an entertaining game. We were never really out of it. We weren't out of
We was only not out of it because we just kept on getting fucking freak goals from set pieces.
No, you're
from
not.
the
They're not
corners.
freak, and that's part of the game. Nick, I'm afraid that is still part of the game. Scoring from set pieces is part of the game, and if
Is
you
Mandy-
only score from set pieces,
Taxi for Nigel. Taxi for Nigel.
Good point from Mandy here. Brighton 4 goals, Newcastle 5, Palace 4. We're getting trounced quite regularly. I mean, I know we scored some dodgy set piece goals yesterday,
but people
you know,
wanted to see more forward-thinking football.
I
Perhaps this
know.
is what happens because when we were losing, we were on that bad losing run, and people were losing their shit and everything out. Moyes
don't
out.
talk
was
about
at his
Nick like
height.
that.
Yeah, defensively wasn't a problem. It was the fact we weren't scoring goals. Yeah, so we were only losing by 1 goal. Yeah, in the games, it was the odd goal or whatever. Now,
though, is it? It's not now.
no, but then again, we're
losing
a
by
bit more
loads of
attacking, though,
goals
aren't we?
now.
We're a bit more attacking.
We're a bit more attacking.
Well,
fucking
we
hell.
4-0.
You're winding me up. You're winding me up.
I'll tell you
Against
what,
Liverpool.
yesterday was
me
a
up.
miracle.
No, we're
Yesterday
not.
was a
Against
miracle,
Liverpool,
right?
we were done. No mention
We
of
actually
the
scored
dodgy
3 goals
penalty.
without attacking a team. We scored 3 goals without attacking a team yesterday. It's a
we
miracle.
must have attacked.
It's a
To get
freak.
corners, you got to attack.
Well, we lumped the ball up and won a
We
little.
lumped the ball up. Route one, a tactic that you did. A tactic that we were.
No
Nigel,
way.
you
Not having
didn't
it.
once. So
I'm
you
not
didn't
having
once
it.
see Aguirre to Souček nodded on, run out wide. That happened 2 or 3 times that I saw. It was a fucking. It was literally route 1. Fucking Souček over there. It was like the blitz. But anyway, right, that's the end of that. Let's get that off.
You know.
So, what score would you have given? I'm interested. What's the Nigel score for David Moyes?
That is a good question because goals are fun. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Yes, they are. Goals are fun. Yeah. And yes, and yesterday was a fun game to watch. I'm sorry. I was.
What you enjoyed watching that as a West
You're
Ham
going to
fan?
get a chance to see plenty of goals on Wednesday.
Yeah, 4-3.
Oh, you're going to love Wednesday night. You're going to love it,
Wednesday
mate.
night.
No.
It's going to be
hold on.
amazing.
You've gone away.
You're going to get a Haaland shirt on your way home,
You've got
aren't
to celebrate 3 goals.
Because goals are
that
fun.
could take you 5 games some seasons. to
Well, under
celebrate 3
Moyes,
goals
it would, yeah.
away from home. So enjoy it while it's there. You know, we want to see goals in the game. We weren't out of it.
Paul Sullivan, don't be lame. Watch the game and suffer with the rest of us.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, you watch that game, mate. I've got to do it. You've got to know.
I'd have given Moyes a 5.
Fuck
me!
What for? What for?
Believe it or not, the fact that we got 3 goals says we did have a go at them. We had a plan that we went for.
It was a
and
really shit
sort
plan.
of paid off. Listen, we were a penalty. We were a dodgy penalty decision. We've not spoke about VAR only using one angle. It seems to a penalty when you look at it from behind the goal. Never a penalty in a million years.
It was never a penalty. No, I could see it wasn't a penalty. There was
so
no
that weren't a
contact,
penalty.
right?
We
Yeah.
should have had a penalty against Liverpool. There's 2 points sitting there straight away that we would have had.
Right, everyone in the chat, try and pick your man in the match from this game. It don't have to be on the scores.
Yeah, go on.
Basically, who
Go and have fun.
who
Use
didn't
your
play
creativity.
who didn't play like a wanker, basically. on that day for you? Who do you reckon? Who's man of the match? For me, I'd probably go Antonio. I'm not doing a poll for it because I don't think there's that many contenders. Man of the match, Souček. Someone's gone. I can imagine Souček's going to get a couple now. This is your chance to get Souček some redemption if you didn't agree with my four score.
Souček could have the unfortunate praise of being the only man in the match who's got a donkey.
Yes. Yeah.
But he shouldn't have had a donkey, should he?
No.
Yeah. No, that's Nick's fault. That's Nick's fault. I think
He should have had it. He should.
Nick stitched me up because I didn't give Rice a donkey, and I wanted to trade my Rice donkey's head. So Souček would not have a donkey because he was definitely man of the match.
The kit man's man of the match, according to Toby.
Not with them white and orange kits.
No, it was a fucking orange kit, Toby. Get it right.
I'm seeing more Součeks, so I'm going to go Souček. There you go.
Souček, man of the match, and a donkey.
And a donkey. That just goes to show you the measure of the game. The measure of the game. Yeah.
It really was a poor game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was shit.
Coach driver, corner spot.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's get
hate
rid of
that kit.
Yeah. Can you imagine we're going to win in Europe with that on?
I know.
And then you're talking about Len having to paint it. Len having to paint it as well.
Mate, he ain't painting no orange.
And you know,
not like orange.
Nigel, you know what'll happen? Because we'll win in Europe with wearing orange, that orange will have to come back regularly. Yeah.
You know, I can't wait for 20 years' time when they do the retro look.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Oh, that's going to be a treat, isn't it?
What was? Can somebody tell me the story behind? I'm sure someone's mentioned it before. What is their rationale behind this orange kit?
Oh, there's the official version, and then there's what happened.
What's the official version?
The official version.
Their justification for
the orange symbolises the furnace of the ironworks that built the ship.
Oh, you're joking?
No,
really?
And
who fucking thought of that?
That is what who thought of that?
The furnace of the ironworks.
Yeah, the furnace of the marketing people at West Ham who
honestly,
who
I mean,
delivered the
kit. Load of old shit
as a fait accompli. So, from what I understand, is West Ham don't sign off on the third kit. It's created by the clothing manufacturer Umbro.
Yeah.
They have a bit of a leeway. That's why you see the third kits are generally a little bit out there. They can get to be a bit creative.
So it's turned up. It's turned up pre-season, and the marketing people have looked at it and said, oh, "Fuck, we've got to say something about this." What is it? Yeah. It's orange. It's orange. What was
listen? Certain people apparently were not impressed when they clocked it.
It looks like Donald Trump's gone down on them.
It's not. You know, I don't know. It's a bit Luton Town-esque for me.
Yeah, it's shit.
Horrible.
I don't know. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say it's different, but where's the flames then? They're saying it's where's the fucking flames?
If you look, it's the embers, isn't it? The embers from the furnace. Right. See, that's what the sort of it sort of looked like. It looked like a fox had been run over and its intestines scattered on the fucking road. Yeah? And that's what it sort of looks like.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right. Okay. Right. Well, that's the end of that shit. Anyway, Nigel. Nigel, do you want to touch on your special before we open the phone lines?
Well, we'll cover it, and I'll tell you why. Because it actually ties in a bit with the games.
Carry on talking 2 minutes. I'm going to go and get a top up.
This season, yeah. So if you think about the amount of games we're playing in this April, today is the anniversary of one of, if not the, in my top 3 nights of Upton Park, and that is the Ipswich Town game from 1986. There's the programme now. So tonight, well, as we speak now. Well, 21:51. I think we were just about running on the pitch, Gal, weren't we?
Yeah,
singing we're going to win the league, and you know, it's the only time we've ever done that on a pitch, sung it, and actually believed it.
Yeah,
I've just wrote an article on 6'2" telling about the night of the game. Liverpool and Everton were both playing at the same time. We were third in the table going into the game. Ipswich were down the bottom. The game should have been played in the February. There was no football. in February. In fact, we didn't play a league game from the 2nd of February until the 15th of March. But we did play 6 cup games because we had Ipswich 3 times, Man United twice, and Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And there was no football for a month for 4 weeks, from February to 6th. I'll never forget that day. I was at Ipswich when we won 1-0, Tony Cotty in the snow, and that was the day my sister was born.
Yeah.
So it was a good day, and then there was no football until 4 weeks later. So we then get into this Ipswich game, and lo and behold, in typical fashion, we had 9 games in that April. Yeah, 9 games. Now we'd played, Nick. We'd played in this week, Saturday, Monday, and now we were on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So not just Saturday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Wednesday. We played Saturday. We beat Coventry 1-0. Tony Cotty goal.
Yeah.
It weren't a great performance, but Jesus Christ, we'd already had 6 games in April already.
It was almost
including
as
the
if
8-1 win
affected
against
us, Nigel, right?
Yeah.
What fatigue?
Yeah,
Well, back then.
Well,
Even
it
back in the
didn't
days
seem
when they
to
would,
be,
when
right?
they had
Hold on.
steak for breakfast and they was playing with hangovers and stuff like that.
Of those 9 games we had in April, I think we only lost 1 of them.
Okay.
So was fatigue apart. But anyway, we went 1-0 down on the hour. It all get a bit nervous. Dickens got an equaliser, and then it would be great to VAR some decisions, because this penalty from Mark Wald, I put the video on my article on 6 Foot. I put the video of the game up, and you can see the penalty. He fell over, I think is the phrase. And the ref gave a penalty last minute of the game, 2-1 win. I was by the tunnel, and what happened at the end of the game is that Terry Butcher tried to physically attack the referee.
Oh,
no. It was mad. But I was queuing to get down the stairs on the lower west to get on the pitch, because it was the last home game of the season. And believe it or not, people, we were allowed to do that without getting a 3-year ban back then. The mad thing about it is that last minute penalty ended up relegating Ipswich Town. Now, if you remember, Ipswich were like the best team in the early 80s.
Decent side, yeah.
Bobby Robson goes to England. They break up that team, and 5 years after winning the UEFA Cup, they get relegated. And if they'd have got a point against West Ham, they would have stayed up.
We all knew that famous Ipswich team because of Escape to Victory and whatever else. And they won the UEFA Cup, didn't they? And, Arnold Muren, Franz Tyson, Paul Mariner, Alan Brazil.
Mariner, Eric Gates, Paul Cooper in goal.
Yeah.
George Burley.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Wymark was another one.
They were a great team.
Johnny
really
Walk.
Great team.
Yeah. They were a fantastic team, and a lot of their players went on to bigger clubs. Even Butcher went off to Rangers and won. Started that. He left. That was not his last
Alan Wall
game.
was in the North Bank, left side of North Bank. I was in the middle of the North Bank.
Yeah. Well, I think with Everton, I remember they announced that Everton had got beat away at Oxford.
Yeah.
And that meant we now went second. So we needed Liverpool to lose. And Liverpool's last game, we had 2 games left. And it was Everton, and we had to play West Brom.
It was so tragic. I mean, we were fucked over by the winter. The winter and the fixture pile-up that it caused was just... I mean, we would have won that league otherwise.
Well, the first 2 games back after... So we came back and we played the cup games. So we had to play Man United twice in the cup.
Yeah.
So we knocked Ipswich out on the 6th of Feb. Then the first game back, so they brought the FA Cup. So we drew with Man United, but 2-2, beat them. Then in the replay up at Old Trafford, and then straight away, I think 2 days later or 3 days later, I had to go to Sheffield Wednesday and play the 6th round, and we lost 2-1.
Yeah.
And then back into league competition, we got beat by Arsenal, and we got beat by Villa.
Yeah.
And
by the way, the people have filled in the blanks. The Ipswich players we didn't mention were John Walk.
Yeah, I did.
Mick Mills.
Mick Mills.
Russell Osman.
Mick Mills might have left to go to Stoke by then.
And
Russell
Kevin
Osman,
Beattie.
Yeah, Kevin Beattie. Yeah, was a great player.
Yeah.
Hudson and all was a Northern Ireland player. He was Kevin Beattie was a fantastic player. But and so tonight, it is, as I say, we were standing there, me and Gary on the pitch singing, we're going to win the league, and actually believe it was going to happen. And I think we were on the pitch nearly an hour.
And you rate that as is that your greatest or one of your greatest nights?
Well, it's hard, because it's definitely in the top three. Definitely in the top three. And the last night was so special, that Man United.
Yeah.
And then the other one would be Dynamo Tbilisi.
Yeah. I've still got. I mean, my best one is between two. It's between the Man United game because I just loved it for everything. Last night and the Ipswich semi-final again with the Everton one.
Yeah, funny enough, I did saying that to someone the other day. It's some of the best games you seem to remember. That one was obviously the first Ipswich semi-final when actually we got beat by Palace, but that night was it was
so loud from before kick-off till after the final whistle.
Yeah,
amazing.
To sort of bring it up to sort of the current day in terms of rating that evening. Yeah. Someone El Chico said here, does it compare with Seville last season?
Knocks it knocks it down the line all day long.
I'm not being funny. Even
it's a different experience, right? It's a different experience.
But if you go back to sort of 15, 16, even in those seasons, that some of those nights that we had there, the days that we had there, for me, I can't help it. And I know people say, you what's the word when you don't want to move on? There's a name for it, isn't you? And there. If you don't like new things, you don't like change. I'm a Luddite, because
I got called that often outside Upton Park.
But when it comes to Upton Park, I know it was a smaller capacity, and I know it had changed. I know it wasn't the Upton Park that it used to be, but still, some of the atmospheres that you could produce in that place, it will never change. It will never be like that. It will never be replicated at that place. But it is what it is.
No, it is what it is. But look, we've still got our memories. That's the one thing the club can't sell. Because by God, if they could, they would definitely would.
Moyes is back.
Moyes has got a year's extension.
All right, well done. He hasn't got an extension. He's got an option. I think is the phrase.
I think to compare though, I mean, honestly, it was so intimate and so it must have been so oppressive for the opposition at Upton Park, right? When it was loud, it was so loud when it was loud. I mean, look, we had as many crap games as there was crap atmospheres as we have at London Stadium.
But that's what
when
made
it was
that
good. It was
special.
good, right?
Yeah.
When it was good, it was good.
The only time I've ever experienced anything, what I could say is comparative to people walking out at Upton Park was when I went to the West Ham Palace game when I did corporate that year, and I went out onto the pitch, and it's just before kickoff, and all the Palace fans are in full voice. The noise is there. You can fucking feel it when you're on that pitch. You can feel it from all angles. They're right up close to you. I can only imagine what it must have been like at Upton Park when you're on that pitch and you're playing in front of them. But it must be so different to be when you compare it to what they're playing in now.
Well, I don't want to start, but this was the old point is that the Upton Park was one of the most intimidating grounds, not just for players, but for fans.
Yeah.
You go onto the general football memory chat forums, not West Ham ones, the football ones, and someone puts a picture up of Upton Park, and you get story after story of opposition fans saying, "Oh, didn't like it there. They gave you a and everything. It was the tight streets, the tight ground. It was in the heart of the community as well. Yeah. So we had the old-fashioned houses.
We had some proper sickos over that ground as well. I mean, I remember one night coming home from, getting to the car, listening to
tipping a taxi. Was it? Was this tipping a taxi?
Listening to Talksport on the way home, and we just played Spurs and we beat Spurs, and a Spurs supporter called in and he said, "Hello, I've just been down to West Ham." He said, "It's terrible, absolutely terrible. There was this man in the chicken run, right? He didn't watch the game. He didn't watch the game at all. He's all he done was stare at me for 90 minutes.
No, it was.
I thought it was brilliant. It was so brilliant.
and obviously, look, there's the people who go, I'm with Gary, and yes, it changed. It had to change though, because of all-seater. And a part of my argument as well is that people go, oh, Upton Park's tied. It won't. How could it be tied? We'd redeveloped 3 of the stands.
Yeah.
The Dr. Martin stand was 15 years old when we knocked it down. When you look at the stand it replaced, it stood since 1925. Up to 2000. So, it wasn't tied. It needed finishing. 44,000 at Upton Park. And I get it. We get the only good thing. This is the one good thing about the move is that more people get to go West Ham and experience it.
Yeah. And
that's the only good. And that's the only thing.
What we should do, Nigel, a little sneak preview. What we did just very, very recently was we did a tour, didn't we? Of a
reunion, aren't we? In a couple of weeks.
No, we did a tour. So we've done that and we've told the story. We've been through everything from back to front. And we're going to release that in the off season because obviously we are. So once the season is over, once the season's over, that's when it's going to come out. So it's quite a bit of footage there, mate. So I'm going to carve that up into a few videos. There's loads. But yeah, no. So look, like I say, we're moving on. Talking about atmospheres and talking about sort of provoking a bit of atmosphere in that place. What are the thoughts on the potential that if we remain in the Premier League, which I'm sure we will next season, potentially facing Millwall at London Stadium, what sort of fucking carnage would we be expecting in Stratford if that happens? How do you manage security in there? How do you manage security at Stratford?
The mad thing is, if I was talking to someone the other week about this, and you look at it and you think, well, at Upton Park, they could sort of bubble them, and bring them in, and they could clear the streets.
There's rep runs everywhere,
but they could clear the street and push them back. Hence, when in the cup night, do you remember when they got a welcome, and the police couldn't get the fans to back off enough? But they could shut the route to the away turnstile. The police could manage it because it was literally out of Green Street, turn out the station, go right down to the Chinese on the corner, turn left.
That's
down that road, and there was an alleyway that took them to the away turnstile, and they could shut that and they could police it. What you're doing, you can't even bubble the Millwall fans and say to them, you got to pick your tickets up because I've had it before where I think it was Swansea or something. The coaches had to go and be escorted in, and your tickets were then will then presented once you had appeared. So they bubbled it, and you can't even bubble Millwall because at the end of the day, they can come into Hackney, they can come into
wherever they want. Yeah,
at the end of the day, Canary Isle of Dogs is Millwall. Yeah. Big. I lived on there for a year and a half. I couldn't believe that. I think half of it was still Millwall fans.
Yeah.
So they've still got a strong fan base there. It's a DLR, 3 stops away on a DLR.
That's what I mean. So, but there is it's literally for that type of game. It's a paradise for people that want to cause trouble on it. It really is over there.
All day long. It'll be. And I would honestly, and I say it, it's terrible. Don't take your kids.
No. Not to that one.
No, not that one. They can watch it on the telly.
Yeah, no, it will be awful. But I'll tell you what we'll do then. We're not opening the phone lines yet. I've got a phone call that I'm going to make first, and then we'll open the phone lines. All right. So this is if I can get through to him. 1 minute. So I bet it don't work. It never works first time, does it? Whenever I do this.
No, never.
Ever. I don't know why. It's like I have to reboot the fucking thing. Let's have a look, see what happens.
Someone there who said they went Millwall in '89. It's the only time I went to the Den. And West Ham fans picked up a bench. So for some reason we went to Whitechapel and got on it was called the East London line then.
Yeah. I'll have to call you back, mate. 1 minute.
They picked up a bench off the station, and the turnstiles were open, and I mean, it was a big mob, and me and my mate was sort of hanging back because we didn't really want to get involved in it. They just lobbed it through the pub window at New Cross Gate. They just literally lobbed it through the fucking window, and then out come, and it was just going on. And there's a good thing about playing Millwall, and there's a bad thing, because years ago I went up north, and when they sort of give me a right hander,
it's nice to have the rivalry again, isn't it?
Like,
to
they asked me the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as soon as you go in Cockney, sorry mate, I ain't got a watch, you know. And I used to walk around. I don't wear watches, so they could see I ain't got the time. Yeah, and they would ask you the time. Bang, you get a clump. And I had that happen up in the northeast. So you do that in Millwall. Well, we all sound the same. Well, we do. Obviously, there's a breed of West Ham fans that don't sound like us, but nowadays you don't know, do you? But Millwall fans actually all sound like us, so we can all mingle.
But they don't wear watches, because you don't need a watch when you ain't got a job. So they definitely don't wear watches.
You're being asked. Do you know I've got a newfound bit of respect for Millwall? I think since the move, because they're a club that's actually held on to its tradition.
Right. Hello, right, everyone. Oh, can you just mute us, please, mate, if that's all right?
Yeah, you're on mute. I'm on mute.
On the TV, right? We've got Jonathan in. Right, we've had a little chat with Jonathan. Right, Jonathan's gonna have another stab at the phone in at Gary. Yes. He's watching now, so he can see the reactions this time. Last time he was only watching on his phone.
On the first thing I want to say, right? I watched back the last show I did, and I had to turn it off after about 10 minutes. It was embarrassing. And I want to apologise to you, Gary.
Don't be stupid.
I genuinely want to apologise. No. I'm not being stupid. I'll tell you the reason
mate,
why.
he'd just given up smoking. He was weird as fuck that night.
No, I'd given up that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
I had the right fucking ump. I had the ump before you come on.
Yeah, well, I didn't help. Two things. Number one, I'd had loads to drink that day, so that's fine, whatever. Yeah. I ran anyway. But that day, I was on a proper rant. But the big problem was, I didn't. Today, I've got the screen on. I can see your faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
That day, I just my phone, and all I had was I could just hear me. I actually thought that me and Nick were just going back and forth.
Yeah.
I looked at it back, and I realised there was loads of times you was about to speak, and I was just interrupted. But I didn't do it because to be rude. If I could see your face and I could see you was about to speak, I'd just shut my mouth.
No, mate, honestly, mate, you haven't got to explain. Jonathan, it's absolutely fine.
Don't worry about it.
Go on.
Anyway, you're eating into your time, Jonathan, because I'm timing you. I'm timing all the callers tonight. Right? I'm timing all the callers.
We'll get to the point.
Come on, Jonathan.
Nick, before we start, what is the time limit?
15 minutes maximum.
15 minutes max. Right, okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Go on, you're a minute in, Jonathan.
I haven't got loads to say today.
Yeah.
No, do you know all it was is okay, something you said to me, something I said, and then you repeated. You said something back. I didn't agree at the time, but I thought about it, and I said, look at his body of work, David Moyes, his body of work, and that was one of the reasons I was defending him again. And you answered very eruditely, I couldn't give a fuck about his body of work, right? And then I thought to myself, so I've had time to think about that, and you know what? You're right about body of work, because if body of work was that important, Jose Mourinho would never lose a job. There's loads of good managers with better bodies of work. You can't keep your job because you've had a good career, if that makes sense. Now, getting to the point, the game we just watched. So I'm sort of with Nigel and you guys on this one. The game we just watched, right, would have been an absolute masterclass.
Yeah.
If you were Tony Pulis with Stoke playing Manchester United in the 2000s. But the problem is, it was David Moyes with a West Ham team who finished 7th last year, spent 200 million, and they played and
spent 200 million since then.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So I get Nigel's point about the set pieces. Yeah, fantastic performance. If we was a championship club, then the pundits would be saying, what a spirited performance. They did really, really well.
Yeah.
Scored 3 set pieces, stayed in the game, defended well, blah, blah, blah. We made them look like prime Barcelona. And it isn't just their pace. This is the thing that bothered me. They got 3 really good players up front: Elise, Eze, and Zaha. Right? They're really quick. But it wasn't just that. They was passing the ball around for fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
and
It was
it's Roy
effortless.
Hodgson.
I reckon they've had tougher training games.
That's it. I mean, that's my point.
I reckon they've had
That's my
tougher
point.
training games. Yeah, I do.
I mean, the things it just looked like a masterclass 1990s or early 2000s performance from a struggling Premier League team against a sort of top 6 team. And
Yeah.
that.
It's like, do you know, like, sorry to interrupt, but do you know, like, if you watch an FA Cup game and you get, I don't know, whoever, Accrington Stanley draw Man City, you'd expect them to set up like that against Man City, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what I mean. Or even if we're being a bit more fair,
you would.
No, but even if it was like, I'm not trying to disrespect a team, but say like it was Charlton. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was a Championship team or a League One team playing against a top club, with quite rightly, people would say, "What a spirited performance they got you." But the thing is, it's West Ham. And for that,
it is.
As I said, I don't hate him as a person, but he's finished. Do you know what he should be now?
Go on.
Like, if he wants to stay in the game, either drop down a level or be a defensive coach.
I don't want
be
him.
a defensive coach somewhere.
Get him out.
Moyes.
Do you understand? But
Moyes, I
no,
think
but
should,
I'm talking
should
about
retire and
assistant.
count
He needs
his
to be in
money.
this.
He should. Moyes has made loads of money. He should retire to fucking, I don't know, Benidorm or something, and just go and live out
15
his
years
days.
younger than Roy.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's
Got good enough.
sorry, there's a
15
delay,
years
so
in
I
him.
can't tell who's talking.
Go on, Gary. Go on.
How much? How many jobs does he need? How many jobs does he need? He's had the fulfilling. He's had a brilliant job with Everton over many years, where he made a load of money. He made a load of money out of Man United. He made a load of money out of Real Sociedad. You always make a load of money when you get sacked quickly, right? He's been stashing all those payoffs. He got a payoff from us, I think. No, he didn't get a payoff from us the first time around, did he? Or did he? No, he didn't. But he's on a
bonus
absolute,
for keeping us up.
He got a bonus,
yeah. And he's on an absolutely
2 million.
huge contract now. This guy is very, very wealthy. He has no need to work. I don't see why he should inflict his brand of football on any football supporter anywhere from now on.
Do you know, Gary? Gary, do you know he got a bonus for that year he kept us up for getting virtually the same points as what Pellegrini did in the first 19 games?
It was amazing. Honestly,
He got 2 million, didn't he? I think it was 2 million.
Yeah.
There's one reason. I mean, going back to Moyes at West Ham, there is one, apart from the brand of football and everything else, there's one massive reason I want to see a new manager come in at West Ham, and he's got to go, and that is use and development of the youth team. We've got a fantastic youth team, and at least a couple of those have got to be developed, and they've got to become first-team players. I do not think they will under David Moyes. He doesn't do it.
No. Did you see? Hang on. Sorry, Jonathan. We'll go back to it. But did you see the memes, right, from these fucking flip floppers that I keep referring to because Nigel ain't even Moyes in. Nigel is Moyes ambivalent. He don't care. Nigel don't give a fuck. He just likes me being. He likes watching me in pain. That's what he likes watching. Yeah. But
I think he just loves West Ham, doesn't he?
He loves West Ham.
West Ham.
But you've seen some of these fucking accounts that came out. And do you know what? I really enjoyed the under-18 success when they won in that cup final. And you got these wankers on fucking Twitter coming out with David Moyes holding a charity shield saying, "Oh, look, they've really fucking learnt from the Moyes that you can see the effect is filtering down into the youth team." They're crediting David Moyes with the under-18 success. They play nothing like him. Nothing at all. They play good football.
That made me laugh when I read that. I just couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that. We've got this open, attacking, aggressive style from a never say die group of kids who have just battered everyone before them this year. How could you equate that to a David Moyes setup? You fucking hell.
I know.
That's pushing the envelope a bit, isn't it?
But anyway, Jonathan, sort of round this up. So basically, what you're saying is you've taken your flip flops off. They're gone. The flip flops are gone. Now, now you are categorically your Moyes out. It's done. You're finished with him. You've seen him for what he is. Now, if we do, go out and we put in, we'll lose again. We'll probably lose both Manchester clubs. But if we go and beat AZ at home, you won't all of a sudden then flip and be back on. Oh, maybe we should stick with David Moyes again. You know, that sort of train.
No,
you won't feel like that.
No. We need to start playing progressive football. Like we need a progressive man. We can't pass the ball. That's the problem.
No.
One final point, and then obviously I know you got to move on. Again, going back to what I said before, one thing I do think I was right about in the last drunkard call I made, in the lockdown season, I was just thinking about emotions, how you'd feel.
Yeah.
You see the way that Crystal Palace, the way they were attacking and the way they played quite exciting football. And how excited the fans were every time they, pressed or passed. There was olaying their passing. They was getting on their feet when they was attacking. I was thinking, if you take the fans away, it's a lot easier. You lose a lot from you don't get that kind of excitement.
You haven't got
the players.
You haven't got the pressure. You haven't got the pressure. There's pressure from West Ham fans.
It's not just pressure. It's pressure, but it's also excitement. Like if you're going to do a pirouette, right, flick the ball over someone's head, score a 35-yarder, and you haven't got fans there to go, yeah. Do you understand? It takes a lot away from so it's a lot easier than to play Moyes' brand of football. It's just easier. So that's why I reckon one of the reasons the season was so successul. I think it really worked for him.
I think it was quite simple. I think what happened, I think the reason we were so successful when we came back was because David Moyes' style, his football style, we were really good at counter-attacking. Really fucking good.
Yes.
It's a really effective counter-attack. We had the players to play it. And when you are West Ham and you've been struggling, you're around the relegation zone, teams like fucking these top teams, they don't take you seriously. They pour at you. Their fullbacks push up. They do this. They play their game. And do you know what? That just played into our hands because we were defensively solid. We had players that could run in behind. We would just pick them off. We were scoring from set pieces. We were picking up points and we were winning. But that has got a lifespan because when it becomes so apparent that you are so incredibly good at that, it's quite easy to mitigate against. You have to sacrifice some of your game. For instance, like I say, you don't let your fullbacks maraud forward. You don't let space in behind. That's what happened, and that's what David Moyes meant when he said, we've been found out. That's why when he started sulking, saying we've been found out. We've got to play a different style. So I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was.
And my final point before I go. I know it's taken me like literally the whole season to understand this. It can't be right to have Declan Rice, Lucas Paqueta, Pablo Fornals, Ben Rama, Scamacca, and have all those players in your team, and not be able to string two passes together. No. That's crazy.
Right. What I'm going to do before you go, I'm going to link you in with Nigel very quickly. I'm going to ask a question, right? I'm going to get Nigel to answer first. And then you two can have a conversation because I reckon Nigel will probably talk you around again. This is what I'm going to say, right? So I'm going to say, if David Moyes does an absolute miracle, keeps us in the Premier League after spending 200 million, but on top of that, he goes and wins the Europa Conference League and gets us in Europe for a third successive season, something that's never been done in West Ham's history. Do you think at that point David Moyes should keep his job next season? Nigel?
Well, Nick, you've obviously been listening to me because that's why you've asked that question in exactly the same way.
Yes.
Because you have listened to me.
I have. I don't
know what I'm going to say.
I listen to the podcast, yeah.
Because of the fact is that, did you listen to what I said after that if you won the Europa League as well?
Yeah, but that ain't going to happen, is it?
Well, no, probably not. But but at the end of the day, if he wins the European trophy, not if he keeps us up because we ain't going down. If he wins that European trophy, he puts the trophy on the table.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for those that don't like it, and this may, I can feel the heat becoming from the chat and everything.
Say it, Nigel. Say it.
He will join the likes of Lara and Greenwood.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
No, he won't.
He will join the likes. Oh, of course he will.
Only in one aspect. In one aspect, it's
because he puts the trophy on the table.
Yeah,
so
but it was a total
donkey for Nigel.
Nigel, this is like the Charity Shield. This is one more round than the Charity Shield that he won. It's literally.
Hold up. All right, when in '65. Who did we beat in '65? How good were those teams? They weren't all.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they hadn't just spent 200 million on a fucking team, had they?
We had a local set of boys.
But what I'm saying is that people looked at the European Cup Winners' Cup as a lesser competition because it weren't the European Cup. The lesser teams were in it. But I tell you what, we still celebrate it to this day, and they are legends and heroes, the boys that won it, and so is the manager, quite rightly so. Yeah.
Right, piss test for Nigel, please. Right, so very quickly, wait.
2 minutes left for
I want
Jonathan to come back.
Jonathan, go on, talk to Nigel.
Right, let me try to answer this question. If we win the Europa League and we stay in the Premier League, I'll be very, very, very happy. I'll be very, very grateful to him. But the reason I want him to go is for two reasons. Is number one, our bread and butter is the Premier League, and if you can't play well, if you can't string two passes together in this league, then it doesn't matter how much more money he wastes. The second thing, if we win the Europa League, the way I would see that is I'd be delighted to win that competition, but the reason I would be is because it's a trophy, but it would only really be because we'd go into a proper competition next year because we haven't beaten anyone.
Yeah, the big reward is the Europa League next year for me. That is.
Yeah, if he wins it, it'll be like getting promoted from the Championship. It's like being promoted from the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much credit do you get? You get credit, but you don't get that. Sam Allardyce did it, Nigel, didn't he? So, do you know what I mean? It won't feel like winning something special. It will feel like, oh, great, we're back in the proper competition.
Yeah,
but I'll still be very happy.
But Nigel,
guff.
No, but Nigel,
not a proper European competition. This is a European competition.
Who have we beaten?
I'll tell you who we beat. We beat every team they put in front of us.
We've literally had
we
no
can only
opponents
beat the
so
people.
None.
You can't say that. We've
gone straight to. We've basically had a freebie. We've had a bye. We've had a bye to the semi-final.
Hang on, can I say this? You can only beat who's in front of you, and we can't bloody beat Crystal Palace.
I know.
So
Twice.
That's what I'm saying.
Joe's saying, do you know the reason that Palace is safe right now and we're not? It's because West Ham. Because they've got 6 points off of us. That's why.
Yeah, if we win the cup, Nigel
Nigel
will have a signed photo of Moyes holding the cup on his wall.
Can I just say, I don't give Nigel a stick. One second.
Right, there's 15 minutes up, by the way.
I'm going to go.
Oh, go on. Let him finish. Let him finish. Come on, let him finish.
No, I don't mean to. The reason I get Nigel completely, I don't have the same opinions, but I get him. And he said it, and it's how he feels. He loves West Ham so much. He doesn't give a fuck what division we're in. He'll go.
Yeah.
If we're in this division, if we're in Division 4. Yeah, but it's different with him. He just wants to go to the football. But the rest of us, or me, I personally want more.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Right,
I want more.
That is fine. So basically, like me, you. So what you're saying is, look, listen. I will put a poll in the chat, by the way, just to get the feel.
I know the fucking result.
Oh, do you know what? He's being all condescending now to our people, our community. He is honestly, he is. But no, what I'm saying is, I think you can do two things. I think we can take the Europa Cup win, and this is the thing: if we stay up and we win the Europa Conference League, do you know what that does for me? He has to move on. He has to go because he's proved that he can't do what he needs to do anyway. He's admitted that. That's why we've gone back to basics. So he can't do what we need to do to progress anyway. But we can then. What that does is it removes the animosity. We can all effectively, virtually shake his hand, say thanks, Dave. You built good foundations. Blah blah blah. But fuck off. That's it. That's enough. You can do that. You can say thank you and shut the door on your way out, and then we won't be filled. I completely agree. You can do that. You can do that.
I completely agree.
You know?
Do you know what it's like? It's like, if you've been married for 10 years and you've had two beautiful kids, but you don't like your wife anymore. Yeah. You could just go be like, well, we had a good run, but that's the end.
That's true.
Whatever.
That's true. But anyway, Jonathan, thank you very much for the call.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. Take care, guys.
Yeah, good chat.
Cheers, mate.
See you later.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Bye-bye.
Right, that was good. So, Gary, what's your opinion on that? Anyway, I don't know whether I got your.
I can't believe a youngster who's been through everything that West Ham's been through in his lifetime.
Gary,
belittles a trophy like that.
Well, no, you can't belittle a trophy because this is this is huge winning a trophy. It qualifies as a major trophy.
Right. Everyone,
we've just Cup.
We just had a caller call in. Who do you reckon it is?
Gary?
Hello? Who are we talking
Hello?
to? Is that Gary?
It is. Hello, Nick.
Hello, mate. You're all right, Gary.
Hello, mate. Hello, Nigel. Gal.
Hello, Gary.
By the way, I'm going to be suing Jonathan, nicking my sayings. One more thing.
One more. Oh, did he say one more thing?
He did. One more thing.
Oh, see, he's catching.
Yeah, but he didn't say it 10 times.
Yeah.
The way of doing it, you see. No, I was going to say, before I do start, we got out of jail with him results this weekend because if Leeds had beaten Bournemouth and Forest had held on.
100%. 100%.
We'd be looking over. I was panicking yesterday, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And what annoyed me was not just the performance yesterday and the defending was shocking. It was that was a game that was winnable and we'd have got 37 points. We can think about European and start resting players. Now, we're not quite there yet. What I was going to ask you, the game on Wednesday, I mean, if ever we could done about a game against Man City, it's Wednesday. I mean, realistically, we've got more chance of beating United at home on Sunday, haven't we? Yeah? Now, the thing is, if we throw the game, just leave out Rice, Paqueta, Bowen, pack it with defenders, just come away with a 2-0 loss. But the thing is, if we play a weaker side, we've got to protect the goal difference because that's worth a point. And we've got the best goal difference down there. Yeah. And if we does get a bit tight, we don't want to come away with a 5-6-0 defeat.
No.
So, and we have a point or questions here all. Danny Ings, I mean, complete waste of time. He just doesn't fit into the system.
Yeah.
I mean, Moyes went 2 up yesterday, I know, but I don't see him doing that very often. Would you rather see Mbamba, the young lad in the under-18s, because he's much more similar in style to Antonio. He runs the channels.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
I like to see him give him some game time.
Everyone calls him
Give him some game time.
It's Mbamba.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at the available strikers, Nigel will probably agree as well. I think if you look at the available strikers that we've got, if you're going to play in a David Moyes way, Mbamba is far more suited to playing that role. That role, he'll run, he'll work his arse off. And from what I've seen of him, he's got a bit of a finish on him as well. He could look he's what is he, 18 now, 17, 18, but he's built like a fucking he's built like a full grown man. He's fully developed. Yeah. He's strong.
I mean, what about 20 minutes spell in a game at home, throwing him in Antonio on together? Just go for it because Ings has just been a complete waste of time. I mean, the Skamaka deal has been a disaster. It's a shame he's not fixed. This we could got more options. Really, now we're down to one striker again. Really, because Ings is just a complete waste of time. Well, and we're saying about rotate players. We're saying about rotate players, which I agree we should. I mean, Downs didn't get a second yesterday. Cornet's getting 2 or 3 minutes. He's never going to get match sharp that way. But when he brings Fornals on and Emerson, they did nothing. So it's sort of 2 arguments to it, really.
Mbamba is currently, I make him the 5th choice striker behind Bowen, Ings, Antonio, and the winger, Cornet. I reckon he'd play all of those before he played Mbamba.
Yeah, but they're still, I think they've just had the last, what people don't realise, Mbamba's actually got promoted into the under-21 team. I think he scored Saturday against Leicester as well. So they won. And funny enough, the under-21 team were really shit at the start of the season. And then they had the clear out, brought in some of these boys that won the Youth Cup, moved them up from playing the under-18s into the under-21s. And our form picked up so much. We came out of the relegation and slotted in. We didn't win the first 8 or 9 games in the under-21 league. And when everybody went mad about us when we were chucking the kids in January, these 22, 23-year-olds, we were moving them out. It was because actually that's what it was all about, filtering them through. And they brought them in. Mbamba scored goals in the under-18s, in the Youth Cup, in thing, and he's got a goal for us. Yeah. All day long. Yeah. I think we're
going to get Dave from
right as well.
But Dave
Jerfy and all.
But Dave from Raynham, who's phoned in a few times, we're going to do a show with him because he follows the youth team. Like he knows everything about the players. He's really good. Yeah. So we're going to do a little show with him as well because he's been talking about these players for. I mean, when I did watch the under-18s, I'll be honest with you, I've not been following them, and I do feel guilty about that. But he's texted me afterwards. Was George Urphy? I told you.
Yeah.
You know, so he really has, and he said the same thing to me when I did the show and I was kicking off about players leaving Ashby, you know, whoever else. He said the same thing. He said they're clearing the way, they're clearing the decks for these under 18s.
Yeah. I mean, also, with the game on Wednesday coming up, before that, what worries me is Nottingham Forest. Luckily, I say they threw it away. I thought they were going to win yesterday. I was really panicking. But they're home to Southampton next week. So you can see Forest winning that.
Yeah.
We want Everton and Leicester to maybe a draw tomorrow night. That would suit us. The only thing keeping us up this year really is it's probably going to be three worst teams. But you can't say we're safe. We're not. You only want one of these teams to put a run together. You know, and what we don't want to do is go into the semi-final.
You need more than one team to put a run together, yeah?
I've
No,
got
I
to
know.
have-
But
Two or three teams have
Yeah,
got
I
to
know,
put a run.
but-
The reason why these teams are below us, believe it or not, is they're shitter than us.
I know, but we're shit as well. But Nigel, going back to that, listen, probable. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're going to get relegated now. I don't. I don't think we are.
No.
But I do think there's a fucking chance we could. I do think there is a chance because
Listen,
because
until
there
you're
it's not
mathematically
impossible,
sure.
no.
What I'm saying is there will at some point when everyone's got up to speed, everyone will be on 34 games. There'll be 4 games left, 12 points. If you've still got we've got to play 2 of those teams as well. So of the 4 teams, we have to play 2 of them. So then you've got 4 games. There's 12 points. There's a 5-point gap. We are not safe yet.
The way I like to
We've
say
got a game in hand, Nick.
the way I
Man
like to
City,
see
Man
it-
City own a game in hand.
Can I just say the way I like to see it is because this makes me feel positive. When I say it like this, it makes me feel positive. Those teams down the bottom there need to win 2 more games than us.
They've got to win
the
2.
remaining 5
No, they've got to
games.
win. They've got to win 2 games.
2 more games than us because they're
They've got
5
to win 2
points or
games.
4 points behind. They need to
but they've
win
got to
2
win
more
2
games than us.
There's a 5-point gap.
But what?
Yeah,
what
so they
Nick's
need to
saying
win
here is
2
we're not winning
to go
another
6
game.
points ahead.
I'm not
If
saying
we-
that.
so
No, listen.
they've
No,
got to win
listen.
2 more than us.
No, but
right?
what I'm saying
so that
is,
means 2 games or
Gary,
3 games or 4 games.
Listen. My way that I'm looking at it, right, isn't the end
It's
game.
the wrong way.
No, maybe it is, but my way of looking at it, Gary,
Glad you
is
said
if we are you're right, 2 games more than us, but if we're 1 point, 2 points, or even 3 points above the relegation zone, come those last 2 games against Leeds and Leicester,
Oh, yeah,
are you
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
confident?
yeah.
Are you feeling confident then?
No. I mean, look, I'm
Because
confident we're going to beat Leeds.
Yeah. Go on, Gal. Go on.
I'm confident we're going to beat Leeds, Gary. That is the one thing I'm betting the house on, right? I think we will beat Leeds at home because whenever it comes to a game like that, I think if it all rests on Leeds, he will play a weakened side against Alkmaar. I think because we're playing Leeds 2.5 days later, right? I don't think he can afford if it's that, either way is going to make him unpopular. If we played bad and lost against Leeds and went and got relegated, it would be a fucking disaster. And if he played a weak side against Alkmaar, so he's in a kind of lose-lose, but he's put himself in that situation, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we'd have won yesterday, we'd be on 37. All this conversation would be irrelevant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We'll beat Brentford. Don't worry about that.
What worries me is we're playing even now. We're playing another midweek game Wednesday. None of the others are. We're playing European games. These teams are playing 1 game a week, and much as we defended poorly yesterday, the players did try. The effort was there.
All right, then, Gal, I'll stop you there.
Knackered.
I'll stop you there. Would you have been happy to have been knocked out of Europe then? So we didn't have to play these games? Right then, so what are you complaining for? How can you turn around and say, hold up, how can you turn around and say, we got to play these week games, we got to play these games, because believe it or not, we've been winning in Europe and doing well, which is what we all want.
Can I ask you both? Can I ask you both something, right? Talking about going back to the fatigue conversation where Gary laid down his case earlier on. That was fucking brilliant, by the way, right? Yeah. Literally, because I loved it because it completely backs up my point, Nigel.
Yeah,
it's
doing the research.
It's amazing.
Polly.
It's amazing, right? And what I'm saying is, if we're at a situation where you've got, let's talk about Brentford. Let's talk about the semi-final. Bearing in mind, we don't want to be 2 points or 3 points above the relegation zone or even in it come those last 2 games, because then it's squeaky bum time. You don't want to be, right?
You don't enjoy it.
Listen, it could happen. So that would mean if that were the case, the Brentford game would be incredibly important because you don't want to. You need to get something out of that. So we've got the home leg against AZ Alkmaar. What do you do if we haven't won? If we haven't beat either of the Manchester teams, and then the other fucking teams below us do the unthinkable and go getting a few results, start making us get a little bit nervous? What becomes a priority then? Do you just play your best 11 against AZ Alkmaar at home, and then 3 days later, then what? What do you do, Nigel? What? I'll ask you, Nigel. Go on.
Play your best 11 against Alkmaar, and this is the thing. Try and win the game in the first leg, which is difficult to do because it means taking a 3-goal lead over to AZ, and that's what it means. Yeah, and that's what you try and do. And the thing is, winning games does breed confidence. I said it before. Funny enough, is that our poor form, our real poor form, started once we'd finished playing in Europe.
That's coincidence. Nigel is coincidence.
Of course, it's coincidence. And our good form kick-started itself when we went back to playing in Europe.
Mate, we're playing
but
pub
it's pure
teams.
Coincidence, people. It's got nothing to do with it. The fact that we were playing and winning games and everything else.
Well, maybe what we should do is when we're not playing in Europe, is just schedule other sort of meaningless games against similar level opposition, like the Dog and Duck or something like that, in between other games that we've got.
Get your boys out there.
We play a game against Stansted.
Nick, what I was going to say, what I was trying to get at my point was,
go on, mate.
With Nigel, and Nigel, I'm on the same page as you. All I'm saying is, of course I want to be in Europe. I want to win a trophy as much as you do. But what I'm saying, we're at a disadvantage. Where the teams are playing one game a week, we're playing like every 3 days. This is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to throw the European games. But why don't Moyes, he's not played Downs at all. I don't get it. Downs yesterday could have come in for that game. Fornals could play in the middle. He could play Cornet up front. Cornet needs match. He's getting 2 or 3 minutes. So he's not rotating his squad enough.
No, do you know what? You won't play. There's no way you're playing Cornet up front against Palace. You can play. I get it. Play him up front against Man City, even maybe Man United. Oh, we can think because I think the point. But you don't do it because I tell you, and this is the thing. Palace was a points achievable game, and that's why he went out.
Can I say one more thing just to drop into your conversation, Nigel? Just to touch on your, it's all about momentum, because that's important. Winning breeds confidence. Yeah. We've just lost 2 games on the spin. If we don't get anything out of the next 2 Manchester games, that's 4 losses on the spin.
I know that. Yeah.
And look at our record against Brentford; it's terrible.
Yeah. I know.
Well, only in the Premier League.
The only good thing is, I would say, what is a good thing, next week's game, Man United, is a 6:30 kickoff. It'll be an evening game. So it should be a good atmosphere over there. That's the game.
7 o'clock.
7, yeah. So that's the game. I think we can get something from it. I mean, even Liverpool the other night, we got robbed again by VAR. We could have got a point out of that. And it's so frustrating, really. But I think United, with City game, what do we do? Do we just throw the game?
For me, look. You've got to accept now, even Nigel has, after the evidence has been laid down before him by Gary earlier on, you have to accept that fatigue does exist. It is a fucking problem. Okay. Now, if throwing one game that we would lose anyway, Man City are purring, right? Even if we were fit and firing, if Man City have got their towels up and they're up for it, we're fucked. Most teams are. You all are.
Yeah.
But in that game, we're not going to win that. It would take a miracle. I think that if you're going to throw one game, throw that one. And
I tell you what, Nick.
Don't let it.
I tell you what I don't want to do.
By the way, this is your 90-second warning. 90 seconds to go.
90-second warning. Shut up, Gary. Go on, let him finish.
90 seconds to go.
No, he gets an extra minute now because you keep on interrupting him, so he goes up to 16 minutes. Go on, Gary.
First time.
Go on, Gary.
What I was going to say, what I do not want to see Wednesday is Antonio played 90 minutes, running around, like chasing lost causes, not getting the ball. Just leave him out Wednesday. Leave him on the bench. Put Ings on the bum or Cornet and Ings up front or alternate them. But don't play Antonio. Give him a break. Give Paqueta a break. Leave him on the bench. And just pack it out with defenders. Just this one game. And just if we come away with a 2-0 loss, fine. Just protect the goal difference because that's worth a point.
It is.
That's very important.
Do you know?
And it could come down to that.
Do you know what as well? Why does Cornet look so crap for us when he looked like a fucking world beater for Burnley? When Burnley
in his match fitness, Nick, he's not got it.
But also, Burnley played a 4-4-2 and he played as a left winger half the time. He did play as a forward sometimes, but he was a really effective left winger. We've actually got. That's what I mean. You've got someone with pace there. I mean, why not just settle on him? I think with me, look, Benny. At the moment, this is a money end of the season now. I think Benny's faded when we can't afford to wait for Benny to find form again. I'm sorry, you know, it's that time is gone. I'm not saying get rid of him in the summer. Keep him. He's a good player, but at the moment, I think we need something different. Benny's been frustrating the life out of me for a few games. Throw Cornet in there on the left. When you've got, we need supply. If you're going to play two forwards, Nigel, I think you'd agree with this. If you're going to play two forwards, then you need supply.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what you don't need. Yeah, with two up front, inverted wingers.
No, I hate that.
No.
I hate it.
Don't, because Owen has to go left,
mate.
Whoever goes right,
mate. Half the time, and this is the thing. This is where I've got a bit of sympathy for Ben Rama, right? The majority of deliveries that people criticise him for are with his weaker foot. Because whenever he goes down the wing, and it's the same with anyone. I know you'll say, "Oh, you've always, you know, you should be 2-footed, this, that, the other." You're fine, but everyone's got a stronger
I disagree
foot.
with you. I disagree with you because he tends to.
Got a weaker foot.
The ones that I'm telling you, the three examples I can think of recently where he's pulled the ball straight out of play, he's cut back and played it with his right foot.
Yeah, no, but
right?
Gary, you have but if playing people on their strongest side makes sense if you're playing conventional wingers. David Moyes' strategy is look, I'm not saying it doesn't work. The inverted wing, everyone does it, so there's a reason they do it. But why not every now and then play with conventional wingers? Why not play with conventional wingers?
16 minutes is up now.
Okay,
you know,
Gary.
Gary,
one more thing, and I'll let you go. I'm gonna piss Gary off. Go on.
No, I was just going to say. So, who do you think the three is going to go? I think Southampton, they're going to go down. I think Leicester are going to get out of it. I think Forest will still go down because they're away from it. He just can't pick anything up away from us.
Honestly, I don't.
I don't see him.
Forest and Leicester are going to be safe. Everton, Leeds, and West Ham. Everton and Leeds are in it, and they're the. Well, let's not talk about West Ham. Let's talk about those four below us. I think Leeds are in trouble. I almost feel like they're gone. When I look at their running and the way they've been playing, they're just capitulating, aren't they? I think they're gone.
And Everton,
Forest ain't going to go. I don't think they're going to go. They're going to get the points. They beat Brighton the other day, and they should have beat Brentford.
They got lucky with that, though, Nick. They got lucky. The timing.
No,
they played Brighton. who just played the FA Cup semi-final, played extra time and penalties.
Yes, I know.
Got Brighton just at the right time.
I know. Was they fatigued? Was they fatigued, Brighton, then?
Well, it must have been, because they just beat Wolves 6-0 and they've been brilliant.
Nigel, was Brighton fatigued when Nottingham Forest beat them? No. Do you think that could have been? No.
Right.
No, they just beat them because they're a better team. Then
I think they were deflated.
As soon as I saw that fixture, I thought how lucky are Forest to get. Mind you, I'll say one thing. When he's all reminiscing earlier about the 86 season, I mean, I watched every game that season virtually, and if I remember rightly, Nigel, did we not play 7 games in 11 days?
Yeah. Well, we had 9 games in the whole of April.
Heavier pitches,
but well, you know, but at the end, you know, which I think we were winning. Well, I think we won 6 out of our last 7.
Yeah,
I think it was the Chelsea defeat. Funny enough, we beat Chelsea 4-0 away from home, and then madly got beat 2-1 at Upton Park in a absolutely outstanding night.
I remember that.
Doug Rougvie was a bastard that night, if I remember rightly, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, throw in the Newcastle 8-1. You know,
I was going to say,
love that night.
Yeah.
Right,
one more thing.
This is your last. I can't let you cross 20 minutes. 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Come on.
Just for Nick's benefit, I'm watching the Liverpool-Tottenham game today, and Gary Neville made a good point.
Can we just after this is done?
He was on about the how Tottenham been playing under the last 3 managers. It's not been their style, you know, defensive managers. And he said, this like getting players sitting behind the ball, is this football? He said, now, it's outdated now, it's gone. He actually said that on the commentary today.
It is gone. It's dead.
As soon as Spurs started attacking and went for it, they looked a different team.
Listen, it will work every now and then. It worked against Bournemouth because Bournemouth don't have the quality to break down fucking 9 players, and they were trying to get at us, and we were getting in behind them, and it was working so easily. You know, it was easy. So it will work every now and then. But it wasn't that Moyes had devised that tactic for
So
that
we
game.
only beat Bournemouth because Bournemouth was shit then.
No, they're not shit. They're not shit.
They're not. So what? How did we beat Bournemouth 4-0?
Because our sole way of playing worked against them, and it always will.
And at least we're scoring from set pieces again and corners again now, which is a good thing.
They are right, Nigel.
Right,
right, Gary. Time's up. Come on, 20 minutes and 22 seconds. You're taking the piss. Come on.
Well, I'm going to go. I'll let you get on and let someone else come on.
All right, top man.
Great show, lads.
See you later, Gary.
Cheers, Gary. Thanks, mate. Speak to you in a bit.
Bye, mate. Bye-bye.
Right, we've got next one. I'm going to see if I can get hold of Mick. Where are we? I don't think he's phoned in before.
It was so brilliant, the Spurs thing. The Spurs result was so fantastic. Nobody does Spursy like Spurs, do they? I mean,
do you know what? It's a redeemer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about
it's
I was in
so
the
nice.
chat.
So nice.
There's a few Spurs. There's more Arsenal where I work, and there's one Liverpool, and there's a few Spurs. And basically, generally the Arsenal boys love me because I just destroy all the Tottenham boys, and they have to shut up when I'm about.
Yeah.
I am the proper arrogant Cockney. Even when I'm beat, I don't give a fuck. I'm giving it to them, and I'm fucking giving it to them. And then you think, give it. And I said to him on Friday, listen, I've battered you boys for a week now, but I'm bored battering Arsenal. Don't worry. This weekend, I promise, I'll give it to the Spurs boys. Yeah. And I lived it up. But then all of a sudden, I had to stop what I was doing because they were fucking getting back into the game.
No, to be fair, that was a fucking good game to watch, wasn't it? It was a good game to watch. In the end, I detest Spurs, but in the end, they were unlucky not to have got more than a draw out of that. They had the post twice.
I did text them and said, I
made it even better when they lost.
Yeah, I almost felt sorry for you boys, and then I covered it up with once I'd stopped laughing.
The best thing ever, right? The best thing ever.
So funny.
The best thing ever. Obviously, I live in Enfield, North London. They're all Arsenal and Spurs around here, and I manage a team around here as well. And all the dads are either Arsenal or Tottenham. And I'm part of a WhatsApp group where I just watch it, and they're back and forth at each other. There's some big characters in there, and you got Gareth, who's a Spurs fan. And the best one will always be when they was in the Champions League and they went 1-0 up against Bayern Munich, and he sent a video of himself celebrating just after the goal had gone in on the WhatsApp group, and then they went and lost 7-1. It was fucking amazing. It was honestly, it was brilliant.
That is funny because someone said Jota should have been sent off. I mean, Liverpool and VAR.
Oh, they've got VAR in their pocket, haven't they?
Going on there.
Yeah, I know.
I never wanted it in the first place.
No. The video reaction of the Ugly Twins, that's the two Spurs supporters, right, who run the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I watched it. That's brilliant.
Is it brilliant? Right. I'm going to have to give it a go.
Yeah.
Right, let's see if we can get through to Mick.
He should have had a pen as well.
Hello, Mick.
Hello, mate. All right.
I'm very well. Right, for everyone that don't know, this is Mick. As you saw when I was advertising, trying to find Bonzo a new home a little while ago. Mick was one of the people that very kindly offered a home to him as well. So welcome, Mick. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hi, Mick.
Please, mate. I've never done nothing like this before because this is the only show I'll do it from.
Oh, top man.
I'm a big West Ham fan, and I watch it every week. I like Nigel and all of us, Gary. Pleased to meet us.
Yeah, nice to meet
mate.
Mick.
Yeah,
Mickey from Mile End, who now lives in the northeast.
Oh, lovely.
Well, no, I was born in Bow.
Yeah.
But I've been there for Sunderland, just outside Durham.
Yeah.
I've been up here since '91, so I've been here quite a few years now. So
nice part of the world.
It is.
And I miss my family, but I must admit I miss West Ham more. I know I shouldn't say that.
Has there ever been any moment? Are you sort of, because obviously you're still very Cockney. So have you picked up any sort of northeasterisms in the way that you talk?
No, it's mate. It's going to be funny.
Oh,
joking. I could be out the room, and someone else would walk in and go, "All right, my son."
Brilliant stuff.
Got it. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. But Mick, what would you like to talk about anyway? What did you think of the game yesterday?
Most of them have picked up on what I really want to say. Oh, the game was horrendous, mate.
Yeah.
The whole season has really, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's be fair about it.
Yeah.
Like I say, the Arsenal game is probably Newcastle away. I remember I thought we played all right.
Yeah.
Arsenal game, obviously. But there was something I was going to say. I don't know if Gary went. Did you go to the Arsenal game, Gary?
The home game?
Yeah. Obviously, I watched it on the telly. It was only a small thing, whether it's true or not. But obviously, I think Arsenal were winning 2-0. And I'm sure I heard a bit of booing when West Ham was sort of like, only a little bit, and he lost a second.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mick, it was a strange one because when we were 2-0 down, there was a point where I was just standing there, I was chatting to my cousin, and it was like there was a game going on behind us, and we weren't really paying any attention. It's like we'd already given up, because you've got to bear in mind, every game leading up to us being 2-1 down, we were rubbish. And we started that game in a bad way as well. So we thought, oh, this one's gone, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, the players started picking it up. Halfway through that first half, they started picking up the tempo. And as soon as they did that, but you're right, there was some murmurs. There was a couple of boos when it went in.
Yeah,
not many.
There has been in the ground for a few games. And leading up to that.
It's a handful, though, Nigel, isn't it? It ain't many.
No.
The point was really, sorry, boys. The point was, though, I heard that, and I didn't take much notice of it, really.
Yeah.
But I think we was passing the ball sideways, backwards, and that's when I think it occurred.
It was.
And after that, I think that's the crowd must have, you know what I mean, encouraged them a bit more, and the players must have thought, here we go. And from then on, I thought, spot on.
But Mick, do you not think that's a typically, and Nigel, you'll back this up as well, because this isn't a new breed of fan. West Ham, as in the fan base, I've always been. I've seen loads of fucking ex-player interviews and stuff like that where they've all said the same thing. It's almost like the fans almost dictate the game at times. You don't dare not give 100% because they'll fucking let you know. And we've always been the same. If you know the fans spur you on. So do you know something? When I hear, I don't necessarily like the booing stuff, because it's not. I mean, booing's a bit strange, but it's not booing, it's negative noise. And I think it's just that noise, it does spur the same ones. Do you know what? You're not happy with it. You're not fucking move up the pitch. What you're doing. That has always been part of the West Ham fan base. I think it has. You know, it's
well, like Go on, sorry, Nick. Go on,
mate. No, go on, mate.
I've never been to the new stadium. I've vowed never to go, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. Should have never gone there. Upton Park, like I was saying to you before, I only live around the corner from it, Pragle Street. I don't know if Nigel will know where that is. Opposite New City Road, Parking Road.
Yeah,
just up the road there.
Yeah, I used to live down the end of New City Road, yeah.
Yeah, right. And my mum worked and my aunt worked at the stadium in the early, late 70s and the early 80s. Me niece, my sister-in-law all worked in the bowling. You know what I mean? So I was always surrounded by West Ham. You just walk up the road, bang, it's there. So it's like a church to me. You look up and look at that. You get excited. When I was to drive down from here to Rome, see the family, my heart start pumping when I got on Barking Road from Barking, going down. I loved it, mate.
I miss that feeling.
And you could see the floodlights, couldn't you, Mick? When I was coming home from holiday, once I clocked the floodlights, it was like, we're home, you know?
Yeah.
But like you said earlier on, Nigel, and I don't think you've not mentioned it on here. You have mentioned about the ground and the games you went to. But it wasn't just that, though, mate. It wasn't just that. It was the pub. It was the shops. Yeah. It was the little sports shop opposite. Opposite the. It was everything, mate. The cafes. The smell as you entered onto Green Street on a match day. Yeah. It was all that. It wasn't just about it was football, and it was about the stadium. But when you was a kid, I remember going there for the first time. I can't remember the game though. It was me dad. My brother's an Arsenal fan, mind you, and so was my best mate. But I'll get onto that in a minute, Nigel, because I want to ask you a question about that. Not about my brother and being thingy, but there was something I did many years ago. But it was just the excitement was just unreal, mate. I remember every second of the FA Cup final. How I got my ticket, I think I was telling you, Nick. How I got my FA Cup ticket. Don't know if you remember me telling you. Because my mum worked in the stadium. What they did was they didn't give tickets out. Each pub or each part of the ground had a pack of cards, and then they had to pick the highest card. Whoever got the highest card got the ticket. So my mum got my ticket.
Oh,
right? It was unbelievable. I had it on me. I had it for a week. Then I went back there because I used to go in So, like, if I wasn't missing the game, obviously they used to open the doors, didn't they? And you'd go 10 minutes before the end and all that. You know what I mean? So anyway, Trevor Brooklyn was in the same bar, the big bar, the main stairs, and you turn left. And I got it signed by him as well.
Oh, that's
so the
amazing.
same ticket I got, obviously, and I don't know if I still got it.
What was the feeling like back then? Do you know? Like, because obviously, like, I was 5 months old. I was 5 months old. No. I said I was 5 months old, but back then, knowing West Ham, you know, we that was proper West Ham. So what was that like to be a West Ham fan back then? You know, when we'd fucking won that FA Cup, the feeling in the community and everything else.
Oh mate, Nigel, Gary, even when we done the parade down there, that was just horrendous. It was just something else. It was just like, you know, like when you see these teams like winning the World Cup and they do a parade thing. It was just like that. It was just unreal. You can't explain it. I don't think it would be the same today. If we won
one
the
of my
FA Cup,
biggest disappointments, Mick, my brother's birthday was the day of the parade. So the day before, so we won the cup. And we, because it was my brother's birthday, we had to go to me nan's over in Dartford, my dad's mum, and because it was, we only used to really see her on like birthdays and things, and because they were obviously shutting the roads, I lived down by the Abbey Arms, between the Abbey Arms and Star Lane. That's where I lived, off Star Lane. So my mum said we got to go early, so we had to leave even earlier to go to my nan's because my mum didn't want to get caught in the roads being shut. No parade. Like, mum, can I not stay? No, it's your brother's birthday. You got to...
but I think the answer. I think the answer to the question: how did it feel being a West Ham supporter winning the FA Cup? I mean, back then the FA Cup was fucking massive, wasn't it? It was enormous.
I went to the League Cup as well. But you know,
like the FA Cup final, like even the FA Cup, it was a full win of the Premier League that started to kill it.
Yeah,
but it was the biggest thing, wasn't it? The FA Cup final was the biggest thing, wasn't it? In the season.
I don't like the Premier League. I never have done. Really, I don't like the way. What I don't, I think, is the so-called Big Six, the Champions League. The Champions League should be for the team that wins the league, mate. Not finishing fourth.
I agree with that.
That is what destroyed. Not destroyed it,
that.
But that is what changed it. It weren't actually the Premier League. It weren't 1992.
No,
it was the advent of the Champions League being or the European Cup rebadged as the Champions League, and then they're going right. Top 2 go in, top 3 go in. Oh, now top 4, and then it became all about the Arsenal. It
has no right. It has no right to be called the Champions League, does it?
No,
it doesn't. No. But do you think now, Nigel, that now Newcastle are going to get involved? The likes of Tottenham, maybe Man United or Liverpool are going to get a bit upset. Might turn into 5, mightn't it?
Well, the way I see it is now with Newcastle involved, you're gonna have like seven teams whose owners are going to be going to their managers. I want Champions League football. Well, guess what? No matter what happens, 3 of them ain't.
Yeah.
So even if they all have good seasons, even if they are the top 7, well,
there's only room for 4 in the top 4, right? There's only room for 4 in the top 4.
So, one of them ain't. 3 of them ain't going into it. Yeah. So, but and this is the thing.
I'll tell you what, Nigel.
Breakup coming of the
Nigel,
Super League and everything else.
That's why they made the mad rush for the Super League, though, isn't it? Because they saw this coming. They saw more billionaire owners getting involved, and their noses being pushed out. And that's exactly what's happening with Newcastle. And this is why
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because you know something, Newcastle ain't going to move from that top 4 now. There's going to be a bit of a reshake in there. They're not moving from that top 4. They're not.
I want to get ourselves a billionaire owner and become the one of 8 big clubs.
Really? You really want that, Gary? You really want that?
Well, look.
Now I do. Now we're in this place.
I don't think there's any other way to do it, Mick, to guarantee the sort of future evolution of the club. We've got to get rid of these owners.
That was a one-off.
If you gave me a choice, Mick, of how to do things, I would scrap exactly. I know how Nigel feels on this as well, but and it sounds like you do as well. I would completely rewind football back to before the Premier League, and take it back to what it was. So you'd have, the champions qualifying for the European Cup. You'd have, the UEFA Cup. You'd have the Cup Winners' Cup. You'd have, what can I say? Football on a Saturday. You'd have all that kind of stuff. Football as it was before it was ruined by money.
Do you not think the only way that could happen?
It's been ruined. That's what I'm saying.
No, but do you not think the only way that could happen is if the Super League is formed and these big teams fuck off and take the money with them?
That's a good point and all.
But Nick, and this is the thing about the Super League, that is they don't want what they actually want to have their cake and eat it. But and the thing is, if you took the best 5 teams from this country and the best 5 teams from Germany and the best 4 teams from Spain and the best 3 or 4 from Italy, put them all in the league, only one team's going to win that league. So we've just took teams that think they can win the Premier League, 2 teams that think they can win La Liga. We've got. Well, we'll just take Paris Saint-Germain because basically that's all there is in France. Yeah. And you're going to put all that oil money, all that Yankee money and everything, call it a Super League. And how are they going to feel when only one of them wins a trophy?
Yeah.
They will never they will never want to walk away from their domestic leagues. But what they want is they're happy to have the money, and they want to nullify, because the power of the Premier League and the money in the Premier League says that Norwich City got more money when relegated than AC Milan did when they won the league.
Agreed. And there also will be a point when the matches are being played in Dubai and places like that.
Yeah, that will happen.
It's going to happen soon. That's going to happen soon.
That's what they were going to do with the Super League, right? With the Super League, part of that plan was for the Super League to go on tour.
Yeah,
and play some of those games in places like that, right?
And that's taking it, and I'm not being funny, and that's where I can almost sympathise with Manchester City fans now, because they are proper fans. And do you know something?
Well, I don't mind.
If you talk to, or if you've listened to some of the fans that have phoned in about Man City before, do you know something? They're less fanatical about the team now than what they used to be. They are. Massively, it hasn't really helped them at all. All of this success hasn't really helped them, because would it help us to a degree? I suppose. Look, you're a London club, you'd probably get more people for the turnstiles, but ultimately, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a shame. Look, we've entered into this. We all sold our souls to the devil because Nigel was probably he was almost the only person who made a proper stand against.
There was one other. There was one other.
There was a few of us. There was a few of us.
But there was one other that you don't know about, because I travelled with him to the Bournemouth game. Jim Grant from Stop Hammer Time apparently was.
Jim Grant did.
Anti.
Really?
Yeah.
No. What I mean is Nigel sort of went out of his way to protest and do all of that. That's what I mean. Nigel, that's what I'm saying.
He said he wanted to get involved. He wanted to get involved. He didn't do what you did.
Going back to the new stadium and leaving Upton Park and that, I mean, I never had a season ticket, never really used to, didn't need one really.
Didn't need one back then.
No. But my brother, because I'm the oldest of 4, one's an Arsenal fan, the other 2 are West Ham fans, they give up their season tickets and they've never been. So there you go.
Yeah.
And they only lived up the road, mate. It was just like your heart being wrenched out your chest, I would imagine.
Do you think, Mick, sorry to interrupt, mate, do you think there's any chance, that some of these old school fans, because there's a lot of them, there's a lot of fans that haven't made the transition from Upton Park to the London Stadium. But do you think that there's a chance that they could almost have a change of heart once Sullivan has gone? Once he's gone?
Well, listen, mate, me personally, and I'm talking about myself, I can't speak for other people. I hope they do.
Yeah.
I will not go back there until it's a football stadium. Simple as that. Take the running track out, take that roof off, or whatever you got to do, bring it in closer. You'll never be up the park. You can say the same about Sunderland fans.
Yeah.
All the Tottenham fans, even that's on the same bit. It will never be that old-fashioned stadium looking, most stadiums like Everton. It will never be like that.
No,
never.
No.
The seats, like you mentioned someone before, the seats coming in, no one sits down on the seats. They all stand up.
I've
never ever sat. All the stadiums I've been to, I've never ever sat down.
No, you don't.
Maybe before, I used to take my daughter. You know what I mean? For 5 minutes. But when the game started, I was standing up all the time.
The thing that does me, right, is it's going back to what Nigel said earlier on, and that is the stadium being in the middle of a community, right? Like it used to be. You're walking through fucking houses and shops and streets and stuff like that. It's a living, breathing organism of the community that it's in. And you kind of felt that a little bit. And that's how I felt a little bit jealous. When you go to Palace is like that. You park up on the side roads and you walk in, and it's in the middle of their community. You know, it's all the local people that go and watch them. And I must admit that I don't think we're ever going to get that back. Unfortunately, we're not.
Well, you go to the new, and it must be easy to get to. Easy.
It's convenient. It's convenient.
When you was all crunched up, queuing up for your tickets, couldn't get in the pub outside the door, especially in the summertime.
Yeah,
it was fucking one, mate. Now everything's nice and easy. You get out Stratford Station, and you walk round there. It's all empty. It looks empty to me when I look at it on the telly. Don't know what it's like for a fan. You know what I mean?
It's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare to get in there. There's more turnstiles and more fucking everything else than in any other stadium on the planet, and it still takes you ages to get in.
Right. Well, that's me moaning about them, but like I say, I can't stand Moyes. Never liked him from when he come in. Never liked him when he come back. The football was complete shit.
Yeah.
The worst football I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. My worst, right? I thought I like just going back to the players. I'm not as technically as minded as what you lads are, or the people that phone. But for now,
we think we are. We're not.
He shouldn't be playing on the wing, mate. That fella.
No
way should he.
No.
Right. But anyway, I'm not going to go on about all the players. All I'm going to say, Nigel, one more thing. Going back to '86, I went to 2 games that day. Right. The day was when my mate's an Arsenal fan, so we went to Arsenal and Tottenham. Right in the morning, 11 o'clock kick off, and then we got a train to Stamford Bridge to watch West Ham beat Chelsea 4-0.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that, even though I vowed never to go to another game, like an opposition game again, which I haven't done. But I did enjoy that day, mind you, because it was not many people can say they've been to 2 games in one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. And that game, the Tottenham game, I think it was 0-0 or 1-0. I can't remember now. But I wasn't bothered about that one. I was only bothered about when Tony Cottee and Frank McAvenny banged goals in.
Yeah.
So going back to the games, that's probably one of my favourite games away from home. There's been many more. But the home games is what Nigel said, Ipswich. I went with me sister-in-law to that game for some reason. I don't know why, but I did. I think she wanted to go, so I had to take her. Yeah. But mate, spot on. That's right. I'll let you go now, right?
Thank you very much, Mick.
Great call, Mick. Great call.
Mate, you're getting nothing but love in the chat as well. Really good call, mate. That was brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, honestly.
You know what I mean? Because I'll phone up again then one day. Then if I'm a bit
definitely, mate, definitely.
I was going to say last week when I was watching it, when Romford was on, I was watching it. I fell asleep, right? Because obviously I've got to get up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, 4:30 sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I woke up at 10 to 5 in the morning. I thought I was napping because he was on the phone.
You leave our Gary alone. Leave our Gary alone. He's
no, Gary. Oh, no. If he's listening, I like
one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing.
I agree what you're saying about Barbalo.
Yeah,
agreed about him.
Yeah, no, I do.
Don't you think he was saving him? The youth team was saving him for the Youth Cup.
Oh, Moyes would play fucking Soufal up front.
Well, they've got one more big game left. They've got to go to Man City.
For that title thing, isn't it?
For the title, because we won the Southern.
Is that the treble? Is that the treble?
Yeah.
Would be, wouldn't
it?
Ask me one thing.
Well, the good thing is that Arsenal beat Man City in the semi-final, and I watched the highlights of that before the final, and Arsenal were by far the better team. And look what we did to Arsenal.
Yeah,
that's it. Mate. Right, one more thing before I go.
Touch of the Garys, yeah.
No, it's not. Honestly, I swear to God, it's not. My dog wants to have a wee, so I'll have to let him out. Why does Moyes play 2 goalkeepers on the bench when we've already got one?
Oh, fuck no. I don't get that. I don't get that.
Why can he not put a young kid on?
I don't know.
That's what he should do. Of course he should.
I don't know.
Why are you not doing that, mate?
It's
anyway,
it's a rotten thing to do in my mind.
It's a rotten thing for the goal. It's a rotten thing for the goalkeeper to fucking keep on being. You know, it's. But anyway, Mick, thank you very much for the call, mate. You've been a star. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Mick. See you later.
Thanks for letting me on and enjoy the show and good luck with it. And I'll speak to you next week or the week after or whatever.
Top man.
Okay, then, boys.
Cheers, Mick.
See you
Have
later.
a good weekend.
Thanks, mate. And you.
Cheers.
Bye.
No, time.
Nice call. Nice call.
Yeah, it was a lovely call, that one. Yeah.
Right. I'll put the phone number up if anyone does want to phone in now. We'll give you 5 minutes. Gary, go through some comments. Or if anyone wants to ask us any questions, put a queue before the question.
I'm up to date on the comments, but let me have a.
No,
let me
you're
have a look.
not.
Yeah, I am. I've been putting them up.
There
was a lot of reminiscing in that lovely chat about the old West Ham and the smell of hot dogs and stuff like that, and about the media wankfest around Newcastle if they win.
You might get to it. Daniela Stewart's has put a great game up, actually, which was the
that one?
Coventry. No, it was the Coventry City in the League Cup.
Yeah, semi-final.
The semi-final.
Yeah, 1981.
1981. That was. My uncle always wanted to leave 5 minutes early. I was having breakfast with him Saturday, and he said something. I said, "No, I stayed to the end." He said, "Why don't you go?" And I looked at him and I went, "You know, it's your fault." And he went, "Why? How's it my fault?" I said, "Because when I was a kid, even though I lived in Canning Town, you always had to make me leave 5 minutes early." I said, "So since I started going, I never leave early now. Never leave early." Well, that night, I remember he wanted to go. And I went, "No, I ain't going. I'm going." Because it was 1-0, wasn't it? So it was 3-all. It was 3-all on aggregate. And it's going to go extra time. And he went, "I'm going to go," because he got a bit itchy. And he went, "Right, I'm going to go." And just as he said, "I'm going to go," Jimmy Neighbour scored, didn't he?
You know what? I was
2-0. We go through. Now the referee finishes the game. He's fucking stuck now, isn't he? He's got.
Do you know earlier on in that Spurs game there was Tottenham fans leaving at 3-0 down after the first 15 minutes.
You know, I didn't get that Coventry game. We didn't get tickets to that. We did, so we couldn't go. But we listened to it on the radio. I remember vividly listening to it on like our radio, whatever, Radio 5 maybe it was back then, in our living room in Eric Street. Right, brilliant. And then the final wasn't even live on TV. Right, against Liverpool. So we had to listen to that on the radio. They showed the replay live.
Yes, because that was. I've told you quickly. I sang at the Royal Albert Hall
You sang.
I sang in a choir at the Royal Albert Hall on stage. Newham goes to town on the night before, and then the day after, I didn't even have to go to school, and I ended up watching the final in the Library pub in Parstow, propped up on the stall. I went to the final on the because I think the final was either just before, or just after the Tbilisi game. Funny enough, and people don't realize Liverpool were I don't think they won the league year because Aston Villa, but they were the reigning European champions. Yeah, and went on to win the European Cup again. Oh no, Forest were the champions that year. They won the European Cup.
But I remember walking to school one day and talking to Laura, my sister. She's a massive West Ham supporter as well. And we were top of the second division. We'd just won the FA Cup. I think we were in the quarterfinals of the League Cup and the quarterfinals of the Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah. I mean, it weren't bad for a second division side, was it?
We played 61 games that year.
Yeah. I'll explain Nigel's...
Most of the team, Nick.
No, one more, Gary, before we do that, Daniela Stewart. Yes, Upton Park, great memories, but it was never going to be more than a 38 to 40,000 seat. Nigel, go.
44,000. That was the plan. They were going to build. I think it was. So what did we have? We had 36,000 capacity. They were going to build a 10,000 seater stand on the east side, but you had to lose 1,000 seats off
of the pull them back again,
Cup. But what they were doing is because they were moving it nearer the pitch. Meant that they were going to take the end block out of the Bobby Moore and the end block out of the Trevor Brooking.
Yeah,
So
because they
rather-
extended them, didn't they, when
Yeah.
they built the Dr. Martins?
Yeah, they extended them that way, so they had to move it. So they were going to lock that off. So you would have lost 1,000 or 2,000 seats there. So it would have increased the capacity to 8,000 to 44,000. West Ham have had. It's funny. I was going through an old program from the 50s today. When I was tidying up, and West Ham's capacity back then was listed as 44,000 against Birmingham, but West Ham's official capacity was
42.
record crowd was 42 against Tottenham when we opened the new East Stand. So it just shows you they used to regularly get over the 40,000s there.
Of course they did. I mean,
you
you must have been in the North Bank and not been out, got there a bit late and not been able to get up the stairs at the back, right?
Definitely. Definitely. And the thing people talk about the infrastructure, and then what I say is that and I've mapped it out. Believe me, I did map it out.
That is the argument, Gary, Nigel, isn't it? It's the infrastructure.
So here's the infrastructure, So what we're saying is Upton Park Station couldn't cope. That is correct. But if the club had coughed up the £1 million that the London Underground wanted, they could have had the C2C train stopping at Upton Park.
Right.
All it needed was the platform redoing and extra work done in the ticket hall. But not only that, the same distance from Stratford to the station, you could get to Plaistow or East Ham. So if you go in,
I used to come into
Plaistow, and if you go in west, if you go in east, you could go to Barking. If you was going west, you go to Plaistow, or you could jump a bus down to Canning Town. There's another tube station there, and the bus will only take you 20 minutes to get down to Barking Road because of the bus lane.
Our ritual was when it goes. It was Plaistow Black Line.
Yeah.
And then you walk through Dog Shit Alley.
That was the way we did it.
What was yours, Nigel? What was your match day ritual?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I used to have to walk down to the Barking Road.
Yeah,
and this is from the age of like 8, and my mum would let me walk because she knew a lot of people were walking up. I mean, people did let the kids walk the streets back then.
Yeah.
But my mum would send me on my way. I had to meet my uncle outside the gates.
Yeah.
So I would walk up Barking Road, from just south of the Abbey Arms up. And then before we left, I mean, I moved out the area. I bobbed about. My mum moved to Barking when I was 14. I lived on the island for 18 months. And then I bought an house in Plaistow. Funny enough, so I could be near. So my girlfriend at the times, wife, she come from the area, but so I could be there. And if I could hear bubbles playing, I knew how to run. Because you could hear the tannoy.
So Nigel, parts of the flats, that's Wanstead Flats, right?
Yes.
So you and like Virgil of the Marshes, you are Phil Parks of the flats.
Yes. So so that's where I played on the flats, and I was the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Phil Parks living near Wanstead Flats. And there's another one here. Were any of you guys at the Valentine's Day massacre at Oldham? Yes, I was.
I wasn't at that one. No.
Throwing coins at the scoreboard.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it? It was brilliant. It was brilliant. For those of you that didn't go, the scoreboard behind where we were getting wet was made up of a matrix of light bulbs. And every time it flashed up, goal. And, we lost 6-0, right? So it flashed up a lot. And from the time the second goal went in, I think, a torrent of 10p's and 50p's just pinged all these light bulbs. I think by the time 6th goal went in, there's like one light bulb flashing.
It was. I always remember at half time because the weather was horrendous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just. I remember saying to my mate, is that let's see what happens second half. We might get into it. I think it was 30 seconds into the second half they got the ball. You think, fucking hell. The thing is, when you've gone that far, when you've gone that far, it ain't worth leaving.
No, and let's be honest, right? In the return leg, we were 3-0 up at half time. It could have been 6.
Yeah. Is there a cut-off? What about going back to Spurs again? What about being 5-0 down in what is it, 19 minutes?
Nah,
mate. What about you, Gal?
What's that? Being
5-0 down after 19 minutes?
No, I've never really gone home early from a game, other than maybe 10 minutes early or something like that.
Yeah.
I've never really. I wouldn't just storm out. That's a bit.
No.
You know.
Is this true what Mandy G says here? I know there's another question before. Mandy G says that they used to squeeze two through the turnstiles and charge for one, plus a backhander.
Used to happen all the time.
Yeah,
used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
Nick, the trick my uncle taught me was that I just don't want to go into what he did, but anyway, so you boys know. So anyway, so sometimes he would have a few tickets for old games that hadn't been used. So what he'd do is like 3 or 4 of us would go up, and he would have the one real ticket at the front and a couple of old tickets. And he'd go here, and you fan them out. So you go, 3 there, mate, to the turnstile bloke, fan them back, give them to him. He just bangs them down, tears the foil, gives you the 3 back. In you go, 1, 2, 3. You've only used the 1 ticket. For the Nottingham Forest League Cup game that we got, Nottingham Forest were the league champions, European champions, and we drew 0-0 in the League Cup quarter final for getting done in a replay in its time. I remember standing there, and my uncle's mate, who I didn't know he was going to do it, literally leant over. You know the walkway, you had the sliding doors, you had the walkway up on the West Stand. He leant over and picked me up. Just pulled me up.
Brilliant.
But the geezer on the door, you could, now and again, my uncle, it'd get a cup. See, league games, we had season ticket. But for some of the cup games, he might not get the ticket. He would go, I'll take that, slip that in. Plus, there was a ticket booth just along, and that was Dick's office. And as a little kid, sometimes I used to have to sit in Dick's office and wait for my uncle to come and get me.
Yeah.
And Dick gave out the comps.
Right.
Yeah. So I've got loads of my programs. I've got autographs on. Because Dick would go, there's someone famous here.
Yeah.
Autograph. Wouldn't know who they were.
Do you remember this, Nigel? Super Sponge. So I'm just saying, do you remember when we first adopted the screens inside the stadium, where it was like a matrix of tellies?
Yeah.
And I think there was a graphic that went up when the trainer came on, the Super Sponge, right? Yeah.
That is right, yeah. Fucking hell, that was it. Do you remember the old beanbacks when they would just they would stack 30 tellies on top of each other, and there'd be one in the middle that didn't work.
Yeah.
I went back. Oh fucking hell!
You'd go back there now, wouldn't you? Now,
mate,
you would.
Fucking.
Listen,
I still drive past it every week. I know people don't, and I can deal with it and whatever. It's nearly finished. And the only gutting thing is you remember I showed you the last bit of the bowling?
Yeah.
That bit, that's gone, mate. To get away.
Oh.
But they've nearly finished the Memorial Garden. That should be opening soon. So it's literally nearly ready to have a proper walk round.
Did we decide? I know you were trying to work it out on GPS, but you know they've got a centre circle there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
What was it? The original one or the one from the newer stadium?
No, I don't think. I don't think it's the original one. I think it's the one when the ground was finished.
Well, for those that don't know, there's a garden in the middle of the new housing estate, and it's a circular one. It's a centre circle, but it's whether or not it's the original centre circle or when the pitch was shifted. Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's when the pitch was shifted, because obviously the pitch was. Yeah. And the reason why they shifted it, people, it was twofold. It was always going to be shifted because they wanted to build the East Stand. So what they did was that when they built the new West Stand, or the Rio Stand as we christened it, because it was paid for out of Rio Ferdinand sale, they built it behind the old East Stand. So for about a year, you had the old West Stand, was there, and then you had the new one being built behind it, or just the upper tier, and then they bulldozed the old West Stand out of the way and put the lower tier in.
Yeah.
So then they had to move the pitch over to enable the East Stand, but that didn't get done, though. It didn't get built because of the relegation of 2003. But obviously, where were the corporate boxes?
Mm.
Yeah.
And therefore,
that's
you get
why the reason
why the pitch was moved over, and why the big gap that everyone complained about on the chicken run. But let's face it, that gap would have gone if they'd built the stand. But that would have cost Golden Sullivan money.
Yeah,
that would have cost them money. where they got 15 minutes. I mean, and this is the thing.
Could have been so
all
different.
we got out of that, like when they paid all the bills and everything, we sold it for like 30 odd million, and all the club really got out at the end of it was like 12 million quid, which they gave to the Olympic Stadium as their.
And all of those changes to the stadium happened before they took over, right? They never spent a bean on the stadium, did they?
Nothing.
No. Sam Field, question. Apart from yesterday's shambles, with Paqueta now looking like he's adjusted to the Premier League and his recent performances, do you think the clubs will be after him, and what price tag would he be now? I'll be honest with you. I don't think that people would pay much more than what we've paid for him at the moment. I think he looks amazing. I think he's brilliant. I don't think I wouldn't, even now, watching him now, I wouldn't pay much more than 50 million for him now. I think there's more to come. I think Paqueta will get better. But no, I think we're not going to let him go at a loss, are we? Because he's semi-successful.
Well, the way I see it is that he's at Christmas, he was down to 20 million.
Yes, he's back up now
he's back up.
He's back up. Yeah.
He's definitely a £50 million midfielder now again. Thank God, because that's what we paid for him. So he hasn't depreciated. His value is only going one direction. If he carries on, he's only literally been playing well for a handful of games, but my God, he's been playing really well, and he just had a stinker at the weekend. But some consistency, playing well like that, I suspect he'd be worth a lot more than 50 million.
Yes, I agree. Michael Levy Jr., your mate, Nige.
Yes.
He says he just think another 8,000 capacity and you could fit 2 more Sean Whetstones in there.
Fucking, I don't think there's another 2 in the fan base.
Jamie Smith says, question, did anybody else notice our third goal VAR was checking for handball for a couple of minutes? It did make me laugh as I wasn't concerned against Liverpool.
Yep. They were, and on the telly, and Nick, you would have heard, they actually said was, they didn't say it was an handball. What they actually said was VAR couldn't prove it was.
Yeah.
That and that, you know, when you think, what? So what they're saying is, we think it went in off his hand.
Yeah.
But we couldn't prove it.
Do you remember the last time we beat Liverpool, which was just before it all turned fucking wrong for Moyes?
Yeah,
the goal from Ogbonna, the
2021,
the length of VAR checks. Nigel,
2020 was it 2019?
Yes. But do you remember the amount of different things they were checking for with that goal? The Ogbonna one.
They checked the back 3, wouldn't it? They were desperate to call it off.
Yeah, they were. English Yardie. He says, with the Super League rearing its head again, the greedy 6 plus Newcastle, if they left the Premier League, would the Premier League be able to survive, or would we go back to the old days of the First Division? I mean, there's a part of me that's scared about this as well, because we're not at Upton Park anymore, and I don't think we can go back. I think we either push forward and we become one of those big teams. I don't think we can exist as a kind of a West. We can't beat West Ham anymore.
There's only one way forward for the Nigel. You say it's like version 2 of West Ham. There's only one way forward for version 2 of West Ham, and that is to get new owners and compete with the big boys, right? Otherwise, we're going to end up being Premier League Ponces every year, right?
We would be, but what Yardy says there, Nigel, is that what would happen? Would we basically would that just completely and utterly?
Well,
it'd kill the Premier League, wouldn't it?
Look, the money will follow the man. At the end of the day, man. When you talk about wealthy owners, Man United's owners bought the club off a bank loan and have used the club's money to pay that bank loan.
They bought it with
and
that.
they're now going to sell it for billions and billions of pounds.
Yeah.
After they've took out 5 times more than they bought the club in share dividends.
You shouldn't be allowed to do business like that, but you are.
Well, no, but for me, the fact that Martin Edwards' dad owned Man United before him, Louis Edwards. The fact is that they should never have allowed it to happen. That there was a bit of due care on them, because Martin Edwards, funny enough, got made life vice president and kept his seat, and he still sits in the boardroom with the Glazers. With his ticket.
Nigel, what was your first West Ham kit? Mine was the FA Cup kit, but it wasn't the FA Cup kit because the away kit in 1980 had it had the round badge, it had the blue shorts, and I think blue socks, right? So white shirt, blue, yeah.
You'll probably be able to tell me my first West Ham kit, Gary.
Your first West Ham kit, I ain't got a clue. You was dressed in claret and blue on FA Cup final day.
I think I had the 85-86 kit. I think there is a picture floating around somewhere. I had that one. The Avco one.
The chevron, the chevron shirt, I suppose.
So you had the home kit.
Home kit. Yeah, that was I had the away shirt, to be honest. And this is the bane of my life because they go for big money. I would love to have that Admiral shirt with the white. I did have it as a kid, but my mum never really. I didn't start collecting till I was 10. So and it started with programs. My mum, we only lived in a little place. We didn't have the room.
Nigel, before we move on from Michael Levy Jr. as well, I've heard you give him a shout out on your show. Do you want to let us know what Michael does?
Well, what he does is Michael Levy Jr. is the soul singing superstar Tenerife people, and he's the award winning. And he's won best vocal entertainer, I believe, in Tenerife on possibly more than one occasion.
We'll have to come and see you next time we're in Tenerife.
If you go into Tenerife and you like your soul, Motown and hits. This man puts on the best show going.
There is no way. There is no way our sister. Out there, isn't she? There is no way our sister hasn't seen him. She spends fucking half her life out there.
And listen, I think one of the podcast blokes turned around and put on the show the other day that he went to see Michael. He didn't, and I'm gutted that he didn't go up and say to him, because if you go out there, go and say to Michael, "Hello, Mike. I'm a West Ham fan. Nigel sent you. Michael will buy you a drink if you say Nigel sent you."
Oh, nice.
Michael, send us. Let us know. Michael, let us know where you're on this next
Calypso
week.
Bar Saturday afternoons. I think Bojangles is another one.
My sister's out there for another week, so she'll come and see you.
Let us know. We'll get Lauren to come out and see you. She'll drive you fucking mad. Don't worry
she will. Yeah. You regret it, Michael. You regret it.
There's something wrong with her, isn't there? Right, but when she's got a few drinks inside her. What?
Michael's an happily married man. Now be open.
What is the cheapest entry fee into the stands that you can remember, Nigel?
We used to pay, I think, as a kid on the North Bank when I had a season ticket. Back then, season tickets, there was no kids price. I've still got my. I haven't got my first season ticket. I've got my second season ticket. I think it was £65.
Yeah.
So, and that was adults. We paid like 130 quid for 2 season books then. I remember, I think it was £250, and it was under 12s to get onto the North Bank. Yeah, none of this under 16, under 18. Yeah. It was under 12 and under, and you could probably jib it. But then it moved up to a £5.
Was you a serial gibber? Was you a serial gibber, Nigel?
Mate, I was. Listen, listen. I was brought up to why pay for it when you can.
That's it.
Yeah, look, it was the way of the world, isn't it? We all, I don't knock people that do these things. I weren't into steaming games, and the thing I always did is that you never went round telling people, because you didn't want other people to do it and spoil it for you, so you kept it to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't get all these people. Look, good luck to you. If you've done you've made your own ticket and you've got into the ground, good luck to you. But don't film yourself doing it, because believe it or not, they will watch it back. They will discover, and then they'll crack down, and you spoil it with the other.
That was a fucking dick move, wasn't it? Really, to be quite honest, it was. Just a very quick one before we close from Black Country Hammer. I'll give you the stage, Nigel, if you can summarise it. We won't have a massive discussion on it because we've done it before. But it says, Nick, in the future, let's have a discussion on what Sullivan has done to our club with Nigel and Gary. This has been my shit for years. The bloke has ruined our club. What would if you could summarise the tenure of Golden Sullivan, what would it be? Really, in terms of how it makes you feel as well.
Death and destruction.
Yeah.
That
isn't it?
is. Do you know what? And this is the thing that is hard. I know he's done some really good things. Yeah, and it's difficult because Food Bank John will tell you story after story about the good things that they have done. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they've taken this club and they moved us to that stadium that's not a football stadium, and they lied and conned the fans. And at the end of the day, you know, people had a side to choose, and people they sold the fans a dream. We were desperate for success as a club. You know, we are the biggest club in Europe, possibly the world, to have never won a league title in its own in the top league in the country they play in. You know, and that is how big a football club we are. When we were moving, West Ham's own figures were 50,000 in that stadium. And we're getting 62.
I know.
We will get that in cup games. So not on the league game, when it's 48, we're going to get in a cup game 62,000. When we play AZ Alkmaar, every seat, there won't be white dots all around the stadium. Every seat will be taken. Never thought that would happen. Never.
No, I know.
But what they done to move us...
it was dishonest. It was massively dishonest.
I'm just trying to patch him back in. That was a Black Country Hammer. Hello, Black Country.
All right.
Yeah, you're right, Nick.
Hello, mate. Black Country, aka Ozzy Osbourne. How are you?
Not the older. Get it right.
Not the older. Sorry,
hey,
mate.
son. You're right.
We're very good. We just discussed your talking point. Did you hear Nigel's take on it?
Yeah. I've just heard it. Yeah.
He said death and destruction would ultimately, in a nutshell. Would that align with yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they sold out hearts and minds, haven't they? At the end of the day, and that's what they've done.
They have, mate. They have.
You know, you can look at I'm going back years ago now. You can look at Birmingham City. What they want to do with Birmingham City, that's what they've done with West Ham. They couldn't be successful with Birmingham because Birmingham Council wouldn't allow them to do it. Basically, they wanted to move Birmingham City to a new location where Birmingham City was going to pay for all the bills. So what they've done is gone down to, obviously, Upton Park, done what they've wanted to do, and they've been successful there.
So you're saying this business model was something they had for Birmingham. It didn't work, and they've just picked it up and moved that same business model
twice
and applied it to West Ham.
I wrote about this years ago, years and years ago, twice. Guess what happened? And this is how it is mad, because they'll sit there and look at it. The first time they tried to do it was when Birmingham was bidding against Manchester for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Guess who got the Commonwealth Games? Yeah, Manchester. And look what's happened.
Manchester.
And that was going to be moving Birmingham City and Black Country, wasn't it, into an athletic stadium, a multi-use stadium.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. And this plan. And then the next time, it was when the casino contracts were being handed out. Brady, I found a photograph. I used to read. I had to trawl through when I was in it. I read years of the Birmingham Mail.
Yeah. Yeah,
to see, and I come
Unlucky you.
Yeah, I come across their MO, and there's Brady standing in front of this multi-use stadium with a casino, and it could be old athletics as well. This stadium, in Birmingham,
Christ.
And they wanted
cringy,
Birmingham Council to build it, and they would just rent so they could sell St Andrews off. Got blocked. The casino went to Blackpool, I think, or somewhere else. Yeah. So it never got built.
Yeah.
So what they did was they finally sold up.
Yeah.
And as luck would have it, the club one definitely did, and the other one purported to support as a kid, happened to have an athletic stadium being built on its doorstep, and the club was on its uppers.
So was that part of their thinking when they bought the club?
Well, this is true. They actually looked at buying Crystal Palace before they bought West Ham.
Oh, fucking hell.
And they went on a massive charm offensive. I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember Karen Brady even floated the name West Ham Olympic?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I do remember it. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know, I was
And
in an SAB meeting when she actually said this about Olympic, and even David Gold shook his head because what she wanted to do, she wanted to take the castle off the badge and put the Olympic Stadium on it.
Oh, fuck off.
And that is gospel. And even like my mate sort of gripped my arm.
Yeah.
I was
Jesus.
fucking ready
Easy, Nigel.
to
Easy, Nigel.
It's really scandalous, in it. What they have done. Nigel, do you remember when they first took over the club and they had that press conference when they first took the club over?
Yeah.
And then you got David Gold didn't hardly say a word. All he mentioned was his childhood, when he was born, Green Street and all that, and where he was brought up. And all Sullivan was mentioning was the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
That's all he mentioned in that first press conference. And then I thought straight away, because obviously I'm from up the Midlands way, and I do know some Birmingham City supporters from years ago, and they all said what a wanker he was.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing or looking at that press conference, and I thought, touche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said
Proper
in that
touche.
press conference, you can go back and look at it. This is what he says. He gets asked a question. He goes, I don't want to buy it. I want to rent it.
Yeah.
From day one.
Yeah.
Day one.
Because there's an argument to say that we were forced into renting it, that they wanted to buy it. Is that bollocks?
No. And this is the thing. We were going to control the stadium. We weren't going to hold it. We were going to control the use of the stadium with Newham Council. But the problem was, and probably quite rightly, is that by Newham Council, we're going to use government money. Yeah. So therefore, what you've got here is West Ham basically getting their hands on government money in part of the stadium.
Yeah.
And that was what the basis of the complaint was by one of the architects, Peter Lawrence or Stephen Lawrence, was his name. I think Peter Lawrence. And he was the one that made the complaint, not Orion or Tottenham, about the state funding of West Ham United and the stadium, and it all collapsed. And Newham Council had to pull out; they couldn't take part. And Newham Council lost a lot of money. Yeah, it cost the leader of Newham Council, the Scottish bloke who got knighted. It cost him his job in the end. Because of the amount of money they spunked up the wall trying to prop up West Ham's bid. And remember, the original bid, and this is what people seem to forget, the original bid when they said that in 2010 and 2011, no retractable seating.
Yeah.
There weren't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Oh, they lied all the way through.
They were happy to move us into that stadium without retractable seating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking arseholes.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Because obviously they got no costs with that, is it? Because we rent it, and at the end of the day, there's no cost to them as a financial business.
Yeah,
because it's rented, and that's what I've said. And when you go about Birmingham, that Nigel, that place was called Alexander Stadium.
Yeah,
which they reckon now is going to be the main stadium for the Olympics. So the London Stadium at the moment, it's up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I'm right. I've only done some research, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've only done some research because of West Ham, because they've sold our own. We've got no own. We've got no assets. We've got fuck all. And that's why I'm so pissed off with, I keep saying that little Russian fucking midget, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's just grabbing money, and, you know, he says he's a West Ham fan. Is he fucking?
Of course he's fucking not.
I worked on a military base many years ago, and I bumped into a guy, and there was two Cockney guys, right? I'm back to the early 90s now, right? And it was just outside Cardiff. And I'll tell you the base was called RAF St. Athan, and it's where I did all the main maintenance on the fighter jets and all that kind of stuff. And I was stopping in a place called Cowbridge, which is just outside, and I met these two Cockney guys. And this one guy said to me, he said, oh, another West Ham top on. right? So you imagine I'm in Wales, I've got a West Ham top on. I'm in this little village called Cowbridge, and this guy comes up to me, and he was a proper EastEnder, because the old man's a EastEnder, obviously. And I recognised his accent. He said, "You're a West Ham fan?" I'm yeah. And he was on about David Sullivan, and he was on about Cardiff then. Cardiff was going to be a super football club.
Yeah.
Whether he's bullshitting, I don't know.
No,
I'm going back 20 odd years ago.
And this is the man.
You know what I'm saying?
There was an interview with Sullivan.
Seem right.
Yeah, there's an interview in Sullivan. He's sitting in St Andrews. Yeah. And it was for I found it on YouTube and used it as a clip and clipped it. And he's sitting in St Andrews. He's being interviewed for a TV show on Men and Motors, that well-known cable TV channel. Yeah. And he sits there and she said, "What would you do?" And he said, "Well, I was a Cardiff fan as a kid, so I'd like to buy Cardiff if I didn't have Birmingham."
Yeah.
No, and you know that was a freely asked question. He could have no mention of West Ham there.
No.
You know.
No.
It was just a business opportunity to them, wasn't it?
It's all
that's what it was. Yeah,
it was you know, there was the added bonus, I suppose, for David Gold. I mean, there was the added bonus that it was a club he supported as a boy and all that sort of stuff, and he lived in Green Street, so there's a bit of romanticism there as well, right? However, first and foremost, even for Gold, but first and foremost for Gold as well, it was just a business deal. That's all it was.
It was, yeah.
The thing people don't realise, Sullivan owned, even while he was at Birmingham. So in 2006, when we sold, I've got a sheet. I've got the sales sheet, and it lists every shareholder and the amount of shares that they own. And David Sullivan owned 4%, I think, of West Ham, or 5% of West Ham in 2006.
Yeah,
while he owned Birmingham City.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. It's
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but ultimately, for me, I think you said the same, Nigel. I think with what's happened, we know we've been diddled. We know we've been fucking mugged off. We know that now. I think the only way that we can really truly move on and try to move on, and you know, we'll have good nights, we'll have good times at this place, but I think the only time it will ever really stand a chance of us all healing is them leaving. Just fuck off. Leave us alone. You've made your money. Sell up and fuck off. Go.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Just go.
Yeah.
You know, damage is done.
Let's hope we can get some new owners in who can have got more ambition and can see us as a fan base. Because I think the only thing that's going for us now at the moment is because we all know the way we've been playing and we're struggling and all that.
Yeah.
The only real good thing that's come out of that stadium is that we fill it. So 60,000 plus, I think that's a good selling point for potentially a decent owner with a bit of cash and you know what I mean, to move us on.
Well, this is another thing.
That's what I'm hoping for.
One closing thing before you go, Black Country. So obviously, look, we've spoken about what they've done. They've moved us to the sales pitches that they gave us, which was all bollocks. One of the big selling points they gave us was affordable football. You know, that's what they said. And we've seen the season ticket increases this year. Now we've just spoken about this, and myself and Nigel have spoken. Well, we all have on WhatsApp and stuff like that about the stadium price increases. And you can say there is an argument to say yes, you know, clubs with comparative size capacities that are competing at a similar level, we're way below that in terms of what they charge. But those same clubs don't have a fixed rent, do they? For 2 million, where you know it's costing them an awful lot more. And I'm sure that as like Gary said, you know, they'll cite, you know, cost of living and not cost of living, but you know the everything's going up, utility prices are going up, and everything else.
West Ham's rent's going up, Nick.
Is it?
Nick, the rent goes up every year. This is what people don't realise. Yeah, the rent goes up every year. We're probably edging towards 3.5 to 4 million.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're scheduled. We get 25 games, and I think one of them is like a youth game, which we've had. Yeah, we probably had more than 25 home games because of Europe. So therefore, every game is still cheap. Funny enough, it's still cheaper. Yeah, because I think it's like 300 grand a game now, maybe more. But it's edging up and nudging up. In 10, 20 years' time, we're going to be paying 5-6 million a year.
Yeah, but even that's not a huge amount, though, Nigel, is it?
But that's why they don't want to own it. All they want to do
Yeah.
is they want to run it, and that's
Yeah.
different. They want to control who has the catering.
Yeah,
They don't want to own it, because if they own it, then they're the ones picking up the bills. Because say we took over the club, you still got the contracts for the athletes, you still got the contracts for everything, and the club and its stadium's running at a loss. Yes, it's cheaper to move the seats, but all that means is they're losing less money than they did when it was bloody proper scaffolding.
Absolutely, but a stadium like that, you imagine what, even if you looked at something like what physical security would cost.
Yeah.
You know, on an annual basis, you know, even if it's only 25 games, how much would that fucking cost a year?
Yeah.
You know, it cost a.
Watch out, Nick, because Fortress do ours, and they're the ones who did the Holmesdale Road as well.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Really, old Jesus.
So, yeah, all that digital ticketing that went down. Same technology West Ham's got.
But anyway, look, Black Country. Sort of to close the call, as we said earlier on, right? David Moyes, I'm going to ask you a question. This is the Nigel question, right? So David Moyes keeps us up. He performs a miracle. He spends 200 million and manages to stop us from getting relegated, right? He does that, and then he goes and wins it.
Gone.
So you think he's gone? He's got to go. He's got to go. I agree.
He's got to go. Even before the end of your question, mate.
Yeah.
Gone.
But what do you do if you don't?
Absolutely. I went to the Wolves. I've gone 6 games this season. I went to the Wolves game. I tried to find Gary, but I couldn't find him. Was you stuck in a boozer somewhere, Gary?
Gary?
What's that? Sorry, say that again.
Wolves game away.
Yeah. I went.
That was fucking diabolical. It really was. Honestly, I'd rather watch fucking paint dry on the fucking wall. That's how bad it was.
Yeah,
you know?
It was.
I went to the Forest game, and
I did as well. Yeah.
What's the Forest manager name? Cooper,
yeah.
He made a bad decision halfway through the second half because that was dire. Until he took Shelby off. And then the game changed.
Yeah, he fucked himself.
So that was happy days. You know what I mean? And I went to another. Anyway, every game I've gone to so far this season, it's been absolutely fucking dire.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The worst experience
I know, I'm 6 years of age. I've been a West Ham fan for like fucking 50 odd years now.
Yeah.
And David Moyes hasn't got a fucking clue. You look at yesterday. If we hadn't got 3 fucking corners yesterday, we'd lost 4-0.
Oh, absolutely. But I've seen a lot of shit. It's like in my life watching West Ham, right? But I can honestly say,
we all have.
I have never had my soul crushed as much as I did when I went to watch West Ham play Brighton away. That was fucking hands down one of the most. I felt abused watching that. It was fucking mate. It was
Man United.
bad.
I can think the 2 Man United games.
Mate, that
we
was
scored
so
after
bad.
2 minutes. Paolo one chop. Yeah, to go 1-0 up. We got spanked.
Nigel, you can't get no worse than Brighton. The football, they should have scored 15 goals.
Yeah.
It was fucking ridiculous. I've never seen. I
was there at the front, wasn't I?
I know. Oh, it was so bad.
Guys,
if I'd have had a sniper rifle that day, I'll tell you what.
Laugh. At least we can laugh. We're all laughing, aren't we? You know, at least we can laugh. We've got a sense of humour, you know?
So bad.
I just can't wait for this season to end. And as for the Conference Cup, I couldn't give a fuck. I really could. I just want to survive in this league.
We're going to survive. We're going to survive.
We're going to survive.
I don't know yet, mate. I don't know.
And then we're going to have to. We're going to win the cup, and then we're going to have to suffer Nigel telling us how amazing David Moyes is for the next 10 years.
Yeah. He's just like John Lyall and Ron Greenwood.
I'm going to get Len's painting of him behind me every time I come on.
Walking backwards or what?
Oh, dear.
I'm going to buy you one and get him to send it to your house.
Oh, fuck that. I'm going to the toilet.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. We're going to range up, right? And I'm going to come down there and I'm going to piss all weekend. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely meet up for a beer, mate.
That's a fucking deal. That is a fucking deal, I'll tell you that now. Yeah?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Right.
All right, mate. Well, we're going to wrap up now because I can see Gary's about to shut down like a Windows PC. He's starting to struggle, I can tell.
Yeah,
he's losing concentration. He's developing ADHD. He's developing ADHD as the show's going on.
Yeah, he looks like one of them little hobbits there. Look at his eyes, a sunk, and he's totally fun. You know what I mean? Just like me.
Lovely. Well, cheers for that, Black Country. Top call.
Cheers, Black Country.
Cheers,
And top show, guys. Top show. See you later.
Cheers,
See
mate.
you later.
Thank you.
See,
Right.
Dickie
Bye-bye.
Stevens, he knows, mate. He knows.
He knows.
He's proper old
Yeah.
school. He might be an Albuquerque, fucking Breaking Bad it, but he knows, mate. He's proper old school. I think he's it.
Well, go on, Nigel. I'll hand over to you. Go on, close the show. Tell everyone how magnificent they've been in the chat and say thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone that's abused me in the chat. I do enjoy it. Wouldn't be the same without it, to be fair, coming on here. So don't ever stop doing it, and I'll never stop doing what I do.
Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. It's been really lively in the chat. I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight. It's been good.
It's been a
I've got
great
to
show.
do it again tomorrow for the
Great show.
podcast.
Oh Jesus, yeah. We'll just take a
At least
cut
we
and
kept
paste
this one short.
Put it
That'll
up.
only be 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 hours 20 minutes. I'm gonna be fucking hell. I've got to be up at 5 with the dogs. Right, okay. All right, that's me done. Thank you, everyone. See you later on, and we'll see you on the next one. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
Likes.